All right, I think we're live. Give me just a second. Get my camera on. Hey, what's up, Dave's channel? How's it going? Oh, there we go. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Good morning, Grace. Wherever you are, we know you're over on Kick. I don't think she's not live right now, but like Grace has become a Kick girl after the demonetization on YouTube. What else happened? They had a stream. Grace ordered pizza. I put a clip up of that. Ruby went on, had links on Celebrity Sunday, and I think she did at least one or two other streams. VP is live right now, and I'm fairly sure that her camera is just a shot of her ass. Hold on a second. And then, of course, the have been streaming over the weekend. I think that's about it, really. It wasn't exactly a like super packed couple days. All right, hold on just a second. Oh wait, is she awake now? Hang on. Oh, whoops. Oh no, we've got a black screen on VP. Oh well, that's okay. Okay, all right. What's up, Kitchen Man Dan? Okay, let's get it. Well, first of all, for the week, today we're doing consumer rights watchdogs. Tomorrow we're going to do Fish Tank Season 3. I'm hoping we can finish it, but I don't know for sure. Wednesday we're going to do offensive daytime talk shows. I found some real doozies. And then Thursday is going to be prime time. Friday is going to be Memphis Wrestling. And Saturday, I think, is going to be abbreviated Intoxicated Women stream. Dalmatian Dog had a great stream last night on YouTube or Kick. Maybe D-Dog is back on Kick since Grace is. Maybe we'll see an uptick in Dalmatian content. That's my plan for right now for the week. I think it'll be very, very exciting. The talk shows are going to be great. I've got some real wild shit picked out. But anyway, today we're going to watch Consumer Rights Watchdogs. We're going to start off with going back to the early 90s, but I think the show actually ran for like 20 years or something. I won't be here on Sunday, Adam. I very rarely stream, but I don't know for sure. And I hesitate to even bring it up because I brought it up before and then I didn't deliver, but this is a Thorpe audience, so I feel like you have a built-in tolerance for disappointments after being promised things. I might be able to do a night stream either Friday or Saturday. I'm like 80% sure at this point, but yeah. So anyway, this show was actually recommended by somebody in the chat. I can't remember who it was. They told me to check out Fight Back, and I actually realized I had seen it before, but I'd kind of forgotten about it. But this is, what's this guy's name? David Horowitz. So if you don't know what consumer rights protect, like watchdogs are, there used to be people who would like test everything, and news reporters would go and like, if they found out that like a carpet cleaner in town was like shafting people or being accused of doing bad work, they would go and talk to them and like figure out what was going on, and like, you know, they test products like, does crazy glue really, like, could you really hang from like a scaffold from it or something? Barry David Horowitz. I'm hoping that we can do the night stream. I've got a movie I've been holding forever because it's just a night movie. It's not one you can watch during the daytime. Well, you can, but I feel like for like a group watch needs to be at night. So anyway, this is Fight Back from 1991. We're going to watch a few episodes of it. And then I've got a couple little news clips about David Horowitz to watch after that. But this is on his daughter's page. I'm hoping that she's cool with us paying tribute to her dad and not hitting us with a copyright ending the stream. But here we go. This is Fight Back 1991, episode 9108.
The ironclad trash bag claims it's as tough as nails, but can it survive a bodybuilder's deadlift while filled with 40 pounds of nails? We have the muscle to challenge Ironclad right now on
Fight back, someone tries to do you in. Fight back, show them that they just can't win.
That's good. Thank you, Rick Jewell. And welcome to Fight Back from the world-famous Gold's Gym in Venice, California, where such greats as Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator,
I'll be right
and
back.
Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk, work out. But we're here because of this letter from Kristen Peppas, who lives in Houston, Texas. She writes, David, I would like you to challenge a commercial where they put 40 pounds of nails in an ironclad trash bag. It did not break when it was subjected to a downward jolt. Please check this out. I thought that commercial only had 25 pounds of nails.
Sorry, I forgot my drink.
Kristen, we already challenged an ironclad commercial. They supplied a custom-built machine for us to test the strength of their trash bag. Delish Dudia devised this device. He loaded an ironclad with 25 pounds of nails for the test.
This seems like a really complicated thing, doesn't it? Like, shouldn't you just be able to pick it up? Hawk and Animal working out. Wendy Richter.
Delish, it worked. You still have a job. How do you feel about that now?
Would you like to
This guy's name is Delish.
see it again?
Sure.
And again. And again.
Okay, all right. Lalo.
I thought it was 25 pounds, but Kristen observed the commercial she saw had 40 pounds of nails. We have that commercial. Let's take a look at it.
We're testing the largest selling trash bag on the market with 40 pounds of nails. And this is the second.
I just don't understand the need, Ananje, for the, like, this machine that all it does. Couldn't you just lift it up with your arm and, like, slam it down? Or are they saying that then you might have human bias or whatever? Delish? I know, what a name. Sounds like a stripper name.
Largest selling brand with
Hey, is,
40 pounds of
Delish
nails.
working tonight?
Now, here's an ironclad bag with the same 40 pounds of nails. Ironclad may not be the largest selling trash bag, but it's definitely the one to beat. Ironclad, tough as nails.
It was 40 pounds after all. Now, we thought we would try this the way most of us would do it. So what I've had is
we go.
Darryl Klaus from Blacksburg, Virginia, have a leading national brand of trash bag with 40 pounds of nails in it, and he's going to give it a jerk. But first of all, Darryl, let me ask you, what
Oh.
is the heaviest?
Did you guys notice that a couple days, I don't know if it was a couple days ago or what, but Foot Girl did a stream not from her bed, and she like showed the rest of her place. That was kind of interesting. Well, part of the rest of her place.
You have bench pressed. How much weight?
370.
370. So 40 pounds is not going to be any trouble.
I hope not.
It tore open on the first slam,
Oh,
and it broke open on the second.
oh, here we go.
Don't worry about it, Darryl. So now let's try the next leading national
We were
brand.
strippers?
Okay.
Tootie Toot. That sounds like it would be ATF Media's name.
One.
Woo! Well, I guess that one didn't work, did it? That is our second leading national brand. Now for Ironclad. Here
Oh,
again,
okay.
we loaded it with 40 pounds of nails. Some of those working out wondered if it really
What do you think? Is the bag going to hold up or no?
was as strong as they claimed. Now, let's see what happens. Are you ready?
Ready?
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Should
Oops. Did Ironclad pass the test? Let's take another look. National brand number 1 took a major jolt before it broke open. It collapsed on the second one. Brand number 2 broke just like it did on the commercial. And Ironclad? 1, 2.
I think Ironclad passes because you're probably only going to need one like oops moment. So I feel like since it withstood that, it's probably going to be, I think they should get a passing grade.
3. Ironclad took 3 jolts before it broke. It passed our test. I want to thank all the nice folks at Gold's Gym in Venice, California for taking time out of their workout so we could do our challenge. Without a machine, it was almost impossible to calibrate just the right amount of pull to give each bag. But Darryl Clowes did a great job of tugging each bag with equal tension. Ironclad passed our challenge because even though it did break on the 4th jerk, the commercial only claimed it would survive only one.
It busted on the 4th jerk, guys.
And it did. And we'll be right back after this.
If an airline goes out of business, another airline has no obligation to honor those tickets. You will sometimes see an airline honor a ticket, but you can never count on that.
Well, this was oh, hey, what's up, Jeremy? This was a chatter recommended this. I can't remember offhand who did, and then I went in and saw it, and I was like, that got me going down the consumer watchdog. Actually, the I can't remember what reminded me of it, but I think I don't know, something popped in my mind, and I remembered it, and then I was like, oh, I can put this other guy with it. That's kind of a little, but does the kind of a similar thing, but in more of like a confrontational IRL way.
Nowadays, there are more frequent news reports of airlines cutting
Handsome
back,
Richard Hogg.
declaring bankruptcy, or going out of business, leaving passengers stranded at home, or worse, somewhere in the middle of a trip. How do you protect yourself from this happening to you? A vacation is supposed to be fun. No one wants to pay more than they have to or be forced to rearrange a trip halfway through because the airline went bankrupt. So what can you do to protect yourself? The risks are really divided into 2 parts: protecting your money and protecting your trip.
Now, if an airline goes out of business, one of 2 things happen. Either you're out of luck because there is no state or federal law that protects you, or 2, in many cases, another airline will buy up this airline.
To date, the only way you can really know that you are protected is to take default protection insurance. It does cover default of a supplier, whether that's a tour operator, whether it's an airline, a cruise line.
TWA.
The best protection for your money is to buy your ticket with a charge.
If you guys are too young to remember, this is how you used to have to pay with a credit card. You couldn't just swipe it, or you couldn't just swipe it, boy, or put the thing in. Like, they'd have to put your card in and make like a carbon copy of it. It's a real pain in the ass.
Charge card. Then, if the airline does go under, you can have the charge removed from your bill or get a refund credit. Saving your trip may be harder.
If an airline goes out of business, another airline has no obligation to honor those tickets. You will sometimes see an airline honor a ticket of a person whose travel is already in progress, or perhaps honor it on a standby basis. But you can never...
Man, where's South to West at? He would know. 1991, were there that many airlines going out of business that like they had to do, like you would be legitimately in a constant state of concern over whether or not your tickets were going to work? Have you been watching any of the new WCW channel? Oh yeah, definitely. I'll pop in on the live like pretty frequently. If I can't find anything else to watch, I'll just drop in there.
count on that.
Nor can you count on keeping your frequent flyer mileage. When a failing airline sells out, there is no set rule governing how your accumulated mileage will be credited. You're really at the mercy of the new airline.
They may be willing to take on the frequent flyer and other types of rights that a consumer has because it's good for business. But they don't have to do that.
If you're a frequent flyer with an airline that you're concerned may not be in business very long, what you can do is have a ticket issued on one of their airline partners.
New Foggy Dottie video went up too about, I don't think, late last night. But clickbait thumbnail, though. I didn't appreciate that.
That ticket is good for a year.
I got clickbait.
One way out of this dilemma is to buy trip insurance. Trip insurance is a reasonable precaution, especially for older travelers. But trip insurance is not cheap. and there are certain conditions
That's me heading out to Las Vegas to meet up with Jedi Rich.
and exclusions you should be aware of before you buy the coverage. For one thing, most policies exclude pre-existing illness as a reason for cancellation. Nor do they make refunds if you simply change your mind and decide at the last minute you don't want to go.
It's important that you
Look at
know
these
the loopholes
people, wow.
before you buy the insurance, and the best person to ask about that is the insurance carrier directly. Most travel agents know the basics, but the best bet is to call the insurance company directly.
Oh,
Norma Kenzer of Los Angeles found out about exclusions the hard way when the cruise she and her husband were supposed to take was canceled because of the Gulf War.
Where was the trip that you were going on?
We were going
her cruise got canceled because of the Gulf War? Wow.
to India and Africa on the Ocean Pearl.
They told you it was off. Did they offer to give you
She was going to India and Africa on a on a cruise?
your money back?
They didn't offer it. I fought for it.
Why did you have to fight for it?
Well, they wanted us to go to Australia, and I didn't want to go to Australia. And then when they released all the money, then the travel agent gave us a terrible hassle trying to get back the money.
Hey, Bob Brown.
And how much did you finally
Dude, if somebody told me your trip to India is canceled and we're sending you to Australia, I'd be like, okay.
get back?
I got back all of it finally.
How much was that?
$9,468.
Yo, $9,000? Wow, man.
The Kenzers had purchased trip insurance for $399. And since their cruise had been canceled through no fault of their own, they wanted that money back too. But the insurance carrier, Access America, refused. The company argued that since the couple got their fare back, they have no further claim against Access America. Trip insurance, after all, is like auto insurance. You pay the premium whether you have a claim or not.
Let's say I've been with one of the major insurance companies for 5 years. I've paid my premium and haven't had an accident in that whole period of time. Because I haven't had an accident, is it fair for me to say, give me my premium back? And to expect them to do it?
If you go on an overseas
What?
expensive trip, trip insurance might be worthwhile.
How dumb is this guy? What a terrible take. What's up, F-Wood? What a horrible take. So he's saying that, so that someone who buys a service that specifically says, hey, if this cruise gets canceled, which is probably highly unlikely, then you got to pay out the money. And he's acting like that's the same as someone asking for their premium back when they didn't have an accident. That is dumb shit. Fuck that guy.
Wow. But make sure before
I'm
you pay
getting
the
hot
premium
now,
that
man.
you understand fully what is
too early
covered
for
and
me
what
to
is
get
not,
hot.
so there are no misunderstandings. Now, there might be a misunderstanding in this letter that comes from KK Kinsey, who lives in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. KK writes, all Kellogg's Raisin Bran cereal boxes claim 2 scoops of raisins. The 1 1/8 ounce, the 15 ounce, and the 20 ounce, and the 25.5 ounce box. Does this mean the proportion of raisins to bran in the smaller box is higher than in the larger box? The logo doesn't make much sense. Perhaps you'd like to check this out for me, David.
14 grand? Man, dude, you have to understand, I'm completely out of touch with everything, but like 14, like that's crazy to me. That just seems so high. $14,000? I wonder how long it was though, like how long the cruise was or how many stops there were.
I've always wanted to see if there's 2 scoops of raisins in Raisin Bran.
Oh, for sure. That guy, the insurance guy, that made no sense in my opinion whatsoever. That was just dumb. He's just hoping no one would pick up on it.
We've already done a Kellogg's Raisin Bran countdown. A youngster poured out a box of Raisin Bran for us in the middle of a supermarket and started counting them one by one.
KK Kinson.
And now the results. Remember, Kellogg's Raisin Bran claims 2 scoops to each box.
1, 2, 3, 3.5. I got more than 2. I got 3.5 scoops.
How could they possibly use the same size scoop on every box?
I think that the scoop size would be different sizes for the size of the box.
I would have to say it's a scoop. I'd say 2 scoops of raisins.
Well,
Yeah, I remember that, F-Wood. I think it's weird that travel agents still exist, but I guess if you want to get like a, you know, like if you want to have activities lined up and have everything kind of handled for you, then I kind of understand that.
Sure that it would have to be a small scoop like this for a little box.
I think this would be the right size scoop. No way. No way, those would be tablespoons, I guess.
Sorry, Kellogg's, but I don't think you have the same
Who's
2
this?
scoops in
Wow.
both packages.
Well, I know, but there's all kinds of scoops.
Can we hear more of that woman's opinions on breakfast cereals, please?
How large is a Kellogg scoop? We called Kellogg's for the scoop, and a representative told us she couldn't find the actual size of the scoops mentioned in the commercial. That scoops is not a measurement, but a term. She said as in scoops of ice cream. She did tell us that there is 1 cup of raisins in every 20-ounce box of Raisin Bran. Now that would make each scoop 1/2 cup. Well, we put a 1/2 cup of raisins
Here we go.
in this scoop to see how many would that be. It's a lot of raisins, but would the same amount be in this box? It also says 2 scoops. You know, KK, you're right. The logo doesn't make much sense. And we'll be back after this message.
I was up in my bathroom getting ready for work, and she came upstairs
Compactor tragedy.
and told me, Mom.
Did you guys know the very first America's Funniest Home Videos, I think we've talked about this before, but I always think it's funny, was one by a staged video where a woman pretended to be stuck inside a dishwasher or something like that? I think it was a dishwasher.
You know, Kitty's in the trash. She brings me downstairs and points to the trash compactor. Then, of course, I realized what happened.
What's up, Laughing Cedar? This guy was around forever.
This is a show where our viewers get more bang for their buck from our consumer horror file. And the first letter comes from Sharon Allison, who lives in San Diego, California. She writes, I found the enclosed confusing sign outside a restaurant in San Francisco. I wondered if it was supposed to be multiple choice.
Right. I think I think it's one of those things where I bet they're actually always giving you like percentage-wise more than 2 scoops, but like David Horowitz wants clarification on which actual scoops are being used, which I think is great.
Public restrooms upstairs in courtyard, located downstairs outside.
I have, after we get through the Fight Back episodes, I have an absolutely mind-blowing clip of David Horowitz. It's just like amazing.
And straight upstairs. She says, I found it especially frustrating, David, because I was in desperate need of a washroom. Sharon, you are right. Whoever wrote that sign obviously wasn't a rocket scientist. They should have such a tough time finding a restroom. Louis J. Till, who lives in Prescott, Arizona, sent us another irritating restroom sign. Women, no dogs allowed. How insulting, says Louis, and I agree. Now, before anyone gets too excited about the sign, they mean no pet dogs allowed in the restrooms. And according to Louis, the same sign is on the men's room door. Okay? Fair treatment here. Steve and Vicki Hawkinson of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, wrote us a letter saying this ad appeared in the Help Wanted section of the Sioux Falls newspaper, and it's perfect for your horror file. Person, to be frozen alive. No experience needed. Must be in good physical condition. Ask for the...
All right, hear me out. What if these people are still in business? We could get Ben a job.
The Iceman. What gives, David? Well, this is really interesting. We found out this was a publicity stunt by radio station KXRB in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. They were actually looking for someone to be frozen in a block of ice. Now, no one volunteered, obviously, so their morning disc jockey, Dan Ferris, had to do it. What a stunt. He was put inside a 5,000-pound block of ice in a refrigerated truck for 46 hours. Listeners came by to speak to him via closed-circuit TV and phone. He made it through this chilling experience, and then he gave his boss,
Iceman Parsons,
the cold shoulder, saying, "No more stunts like this one for me, folks." He continued, "Though the campaign was very successful, I shudder when I think they might ask me to do it again." And I agree with you. Send me your confusing and amusing labels, ads, and signs, or let me know about a commercial you might want challenged or a scam you've come across. Send it to Fight Back, Burbank, California, 91523.
We need to bring this back. The idea that if you see something out there somewhere like that, a weird sign or something, we need to bring back accountability.
And if I use your letter on the show, I'll send you a Fight Back t-shirt. We sent...
Oh, yeah, Effa, it's like an old Carney trick, right? That they used to have on the Midway where, like, they'd tell you they had, like, the Neanderthal man and shit like that.
One to Antoine Galindo, who lives in Garden Grove, California.
Galindo? Wasn't that a big mafia family?
Antoine shows off with a little trick photography.
Antoine Galindo.
Very tricky, Antoine, and very interesting. If I've sent you a Fight Back t-shirt, I'd like to see how you look in it. Take your picture or a video in front of something you would like me to see. If I use it on the show, I'll send you a Fight Back emergency pack.
Wow, that's an interesting item to get back. Pretty neat.
You can store in your home, car, or boat. In most respects, a trash compactor is a pretty ordinary kitchen appliance. It's there, we use it, and we don't give it much thought. But when there are small children in the house, you can't take anything for granted. That's a lesson Deanna Rogers of Riverside, California learned the hard way when her 2-year-old daughter decided the compactor would be a fun place for the family kitten to play.
Oh my God, the daughter put the cat in the trash compactor? David Horowitz, oh my Lord.
In my bathroom getting ready for work, and she came upstairs and told me, "Mom, you know, Kitty's in the trash." She brings me downstairs and points to the trash compactor. Then, of course, I realized what happened. You know, the foot lever to open it up is right here, and she thought it would be fun for the kitty to go in here, shut it, and turn that knob on, and it's all right there in her reach. You know, after this took place, we thought, what are we going to do? We were ready to get...
Hey, lady, you ever try taking a second and being a mom and maybe explaining, you know, or taking, you know, a little bit of, paying a little bit of attention to what your kid's doing?
Rid of the trash compactor, I mean, at that point. But then my husband said, you know, this little knob here does come out.
Was she just going to blame Abs? She's taking no accountability at all for this. She's like, you know, my daughter abuses animals, and I'd like to blame Whirlpool for this, for putting garbage. They should put garbage compactors in the ceiling.
Like a key, and we now keep that up. We are the only ones allowed to turn on the trash compactor, obviously, now.
That's obviously a tragedy, and it could be even more of a tragedy if a child was involved.
What about the regulations on trash compactors that could prevent accidents like this from happening?
Well, we certainly could look into the possibility of making it more difficult to activate trash compactors, or actually where the switches are out of reach of small children.
Boy, maybe it would have been nice if there would have been a red, huge sticker on it saying, "Watch out, your kids can, you know, turn this off and on."
What? Hold on, what? Oh my God, this lady is out of it, man. What a complete cope. She won't take any accountability. Why don't you tell your daughter, don't use the trash compactor? Or maybe while you're taking a bubble bath, maybe you should be wondering what's happening to the cat.
And it could be awful. Kids like to put things in small places, boxes, that type of a thing. And no, this isn't for toys. This is only for trash.
If you have a trash compactor in your home or you're thinking about buying one, check to see if there's some way children can be kept from turning it on.
Oh
if there's
God.
a key
What
lock
a
that keeps the door closed, or a knob you can remove that will disable the switch. If not, then teach the children they must not play with a machine, that it's not a place for toys or pets.
Okay, why don't you teach that first and then do the teaching and the safety?
Because, like Deanna Rogers, you'll never know how bad an accident like that can be until it happens. We'll be right back after this break.
Do you think she would have been as understanding if another child would have put her child in the trash compactor and turned it on? Hell no, dude. She'd have been like, what terrible parenting and what a sick child. Like, I could almost understand the thing of like a kid putting the cat in the trash as a joke. But putting the cat in, shutting it, and turning it on, that's like a Damien situation.
Now we have a viewer who wants to get a leg up or find out what happened to the leg. Mary Ann Baton of Green Bay, Wisconsin wrote to me and said, recently I saw this ad.
Hey, what's up, Get Cracked? I saw that video too, Dave. I love cop fentanyl videos. I watch them all the time. I don't watch them on here because I don't know. I feel like YouTube would really hates them, but I think they're really entertaining. Especially the ones that are clearly fake. I don't know if you've seen those, but it'll be like cops that don't have any like markings on all of their like patches and shit that you can identify them, and it'll be like a cop patting down a suspect, and just patting down the pants of a fentanyl user will like cause him to fall down on the ground and have a heart attack and shit.
In our local newspaper, round table, 40 inches with pedestal base, 4 chairs, 2 with legs, $50. Mary Ann says, I sure hope more than 2 chairs had legs. What do you think, David? Well, we did a real investigation on this. Mary Ann, we called the number in the ad.
See, this is amazing. Why doesn't somebody do this? When you see a weird Facebook marketplace ad, instead of just like screenshotting or whatever, you should send it to somebody who could like call that person and find out what the hell's going on.
And they were not trying to pass off chairs without legs. It should have read, 2 chairs with arms.
Hey, Mindful Exposures. Just a 2-year-old with no understanding of cause and effect and probably been allowed to push the power button because everyone has to work to earn their keep. Well, I mean, I don't think the kid is to blame because it's just a kid. But I mean, the mom just seemed to take no. If she'd have been like, it would be better, it would be easier for me as a parent if they had more safety features. But at the same time, you know, I probably should have told my daughter, hey, make sure that you never do this. Never put the cat in any of these places. Don't put the cat anywhere. You know, just let the cat live. No, she wasn't. She just went like directly to the like, it was all Whirlpool's fault.
I guess forewarned is forearmed. And I
sounds like Grace. That's terrible, Dave's channel.
Always say, you have to stay aware and informed and fight back, and don't let anyone rip you off.
Hell yeah. This is my kind of content, David Horowitz. Wonder where the dad was. He was at a bar. True. The dad is eating Cheetos. Yeah, he's in the RV, the dad is. Lou Ferrigno. Harry Ellis. What a great song.
One, 2, 3.
The Ford Motor Company has furnished the 4-wheel drive Explorer to help with our production transportation.
Amazing.
The Fight Back Emergency Kit now includes a Maglite flashlight. The next time you need a flashlight, will yours work? Maglite flashlights, a work of art that works. Some of the participants on Fight Back will receive a Daisy Turbo Spa, which makes your bath an aerated whirlpool that soothes and refreshes you. Pamper yourself with a Daisy Turbo Spa.
Show them that they just can't win.
An indestructible mailbox, that's what a
Okay, this one is from 1987.
company is selling. We'll see if it stays together as we challenge its claim that it will survive an explosion and the weight of a bulldozer. I'll show you an emergency electronic system for elderly and disabled people that could save their lives. You'll see how common sense can prevent unnecessary deaths in boating accidents. More confusing and amusing labels and ads, and we'll put a Timex and a Casio G-Shock watch to the ultimate test of time. All this right here on... Welcome to Fight Back, and I'm standing in front of a
You want to fight back fleshlight. Okay.
nearly 40,000-pound Caterpillar tractor, and I might get a chance to ride it today.
Well, this is an educational program. Thorpe TV, as it says in their description, is for entertainment purposes only. We're watching this for, let's see. This show is about criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research.
Because of this letter that I received from Raphael Crassa, who lives in Newton, Maine. And here's what Raphael writes. I'd like to present you with an opportunity to drive a bulldozer. I saw an ad for the deluxe stainless steel mailbox in a mail order catalog and began to wonder if their claim is true. You always say, when in doubt, check it out. Well, Raphael...
The fleshlight could fight back if you have it on one of those, like, hydraulic fuck machines. You could hook the fleshlight up on that, I guess. What's up, Nat Man? Yeah, Uncle Elmer's out here. We're going to have to invalidate the test because he got the watches from Uncle Smelmer.
Well, let's do that.
Really
Let's check that out. The ad shows a man installing a brand new deluxe stainless steel mailbox and claims it's the ultimate mailbox. Absolutely indestructible. 2 exploding M80s, both at once, didn't phase this mailbox. It withstood...
Now, I want to say this in case you're not from the 80s. The reason that they're specifically saying this mailbox withstood 2 M80s is because that's exactly what people were putting in mailboxes at the time.
the force of being run over by a 31,000-pound Caterpillar bulldozer. All this for $200.
South to west, I'm just saying, like somebody asked a question. I was just trying to help them understand how they could get their fleshlight to fight back.
$200 seemed pretty expensive for a mailbox, but we sent for one anyway. The question now is, will this mailbox withstand the force of 2 charges of M80s and also a 40,000-pound Caterpillar tractor? But I have to give you a word of warning. These M80s are illegal fireworks. They can't be sold. So you know what I had to do? I had to find a specialist. What I did is I brought in pyrotechnician John Eggert, who's with...
He looks like it looks like Mick Foley in Team Fortress 2, or the lead singer of, what's his name, Surge Tacranian or whatever?
Court Wizard Special Effects in Anaheim, California, and what he's going to do is he's going to set them off for us. John, thank you and have a blast. A pyrotechnician's objective on a dangerous demonstration like this is to make sure that nobody gets hurt. John went right to work. One hazard he noticed right away was the metal peg stop for the flag. Because this could blow out like a bullet from the force of the explosion, he removed it. John next prepared the 2 M80s. He had them previously taped together so they would both detonate or blow up at the same time. He then wired them...
Mrs. Foley's little boy is finally making it.
...to his battery charger. This was so we could all stand well back from the blast when they were detonated. The M80s were placed carefully, well inside the mailbox, and it was secured with a strong padlock. But I thought, as long as we're going to have a blast, why not check out our Timex and Casio watches at the same time?
Oh, cool. Here we go.
John was a little taken aback, but I insisted. These same watches had already resisted the force of being hit by a hockey stick and dropped from a helicopter on
How
previous
exciting,
challenges.
a twofer.
So why not also include them on this test?
We're getting 2 experiments at the same time.
The watches were also locked in, placed neatly next to our own two M80s. John was ready to go. He was satisfied that everything was in place. We all stood several hundred feet back.
I mean, I understand if you feel that way, Laughing Cedar, but to me also you have to figure in that like Grace is agreeing to do it. So like you can blame Ben to a point, but Grace is accountable for that, has to be like, you know, she's making the call as well. Like she's going along with it.
As the countdown started, 10.
She didn't seem that upset by the demonetization to me. I think she even said a few times, like specifically that she wasn't.
9, 8, 7.
Which could have been cope. Could have been cope, but
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ooh.
It looks like it did pretty well. The lock was blown off, and the only other damage we could see was that the door was bent. And that probably...
Yeah, the door was bent because of the lock. I think the mailbox would have been fine. It would have blown the thing open, and it would have been... I think it probably would have been fine.
Probably could be straightened out. But will this...
Ben and Grace at least put up a public projection that they are extremely anti-cannabis, but they've been seen interacting with cannabis.
Ultimate mailbox now withstand the force of that 20-ton...
Well, I mean, if it doesn't work out well for her, it doesn't. But I mean, like, she can't just... You can't put all of it on Ben. Like, I understand what you're saying, that, like, he's putting his thumb on the scale, and he is, I think. But ultimately, like, it's Grace's deal. So, like, she's got to... I get that, like, things might not go well for her if she doesn't do what he wants, but she is still making a decision.
Caterpillar bulldozer? We'll find out about that.
Yeah, I heard that. How is that legal, by the way? Does anybody know that why that is? I feel like if you send your money to someone, like that should go to them no matter what. Like, assuming you reach the $100 threshold, like, or whatever, like, you should be able to get that money. I don't understand how YouTube can legally withhold money that was... Do they refund it to the... They don't refund it, right? Do they just keep it?
And what happened to our two watches after this break?
No, Dave Chanel, they lost $2,500 in money. Oh, yeah, what's the deal with that? I don't understand the legalities behind that. I got remonetized pretty close to when I was able to appeal, but like even then I still lost like $30 some dollars from before. Like I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. Oh, it's because you sign a contract. That's pretty much it then, right? You're just excited to be monetized, so you don't pay attention. I mean, there you go then. That's actually that's probably that is probably the correct answer. Victim of not reading. Victim of illiteracy.
We've been challenging the strength of the deluxe, indestructible 200.
I agree, Nat man. I mean, it's clear that Ben, you know, wants to have a heavy influence on the content, but like great, like, yeah, I mean, she's a grown up.
$1 mailbox by first blasting it with two M80s. The lock was blown off and the door was bent, but otherwise it withstood the punishment so far. Now for test number 2, driving over it with a 20-ton Caterpillar bulldozer. Operator Kenny Dyer set about half the weight of this huge machine gently on top of the box.
Dude, and like, it doesn't seem like a lot, $30, but do you know how many lifetime reviews you have to record to get $30 worth of ad revenue?
And so far, it's still holding under the strain. But now...
It doesn't matter to me if she's grown up. Like, she's an adult. She can function on her own, like, if she wanted to. It's not like she, you know, it's just, it would be a challenge for her, but she could. So, I mean, to a certain extent, like, you know, the nature of their relationship, you know, with them being so codependent presents challenges, but like they can do their own thing if they each wanted to.
Let's drive over it.
I mean, I agree with you 100%, Laughing Cedar, except that I just think that both of them, if it's a problem, if it's seen as a problem, they're both to blame for it. Like they each have a hand in it. Like, who has more of the blame? I mean, who knows? But I'm just saying, like, they're each contributing to the situation, good and bad. Oh my God.
We did everything we possibly could to save that mailbox. We even brought in the noted international specialist in mailbox survival, Dr. Webley Freon. Dr. Freon, is there any hope that we can bring this mailbox back to use?
I just think at the end of the day, it's more important to Grace to maintain the relationship with Ben than it is to, like, get, like, big. You know what I mean? I feel like Grace is willing to take a reduced audience or, like, reduced clout to maintain, you know, that. Well, you heard, like, Ben when he was talking about, they were talking about TTSs, you know, he's like, well, it'll throw off the flow. Well, like, you just got lost like $2,500. Like, I would think if you're doing it for like a living, like, you'd want to get like money coming in as quickly as possible. But and I appreciate that, right? Like, to me, that's a positive. That's been saying like, hey, our backs are against the wall, but do we want to sacrifice the integrity of the content? Or really, Ben's like, do I want to let people pay money to interrupt me while I'm talking?
And there goes another product off to its just reward. But you know, that mailbox did take a lot of punishment before it folded. And if you live in an area where there is a lot of mailbox vandalism, then you might like one like this. You might want to spend the $200. But it is not indestructible. Now let's have a change of pace and get to something real serious. Let's talk about how medical technology is saving lives.
I still can't believe that lady's kid put the cat in the fucking compactor. Oh my, what a terrible story. I wish I had never seen that.
At the St. Joseph's Hospital Medical Center in Burbank, California. It is one of many hospitals across the United States that has a system that allows elderly and disabled people to live at home without round-the-clock nursing or family care. It is an electronic emergency link to the outside world. If Mary Leslie needs help, she can just press the Lifeline button she wears around her.
This all could end up working out for the better for her because it sounds like Kick is going like fairly well for how much time she's had on there. Kick could turn out to be like the savior for Thorpe TV.
Neck. That sends a signal to a base unit connected to her telephone. The machine automatically dials a special phone number at a nearby hospital, which sets off an alarm in the emergency room. A nurse then calls Mary at home to see if she's okay.
Hi, Mary. This is St. Joseph Medical Center. How can we help you?
If they call and they don't get any answer at the home, the subscriber's home, then they move to a list of responders that have been provided to us and call and ask them to go over and check to see what the problem is.
The Lifeline unit also has a timer which activates an alarm if the subscriber fails to check in twice a day.
If someone has not pushed the reset button, say in the morning and in the evening, which is what we ask them to do, or if they have not made a telephone call or received one, that will also reset the timing device. It sends an emergency code in just as if it were the button being pushed in a real help-needed situation.
The computerized service offered by Emergency Response Systems is a bit more sophisticated and more expensive than Lifeline's. The base unit can send separate alarms for police, fire, or medical emergency. It also contains a speaker and microphone, which allows the...
Isn't that... I think I don't know. To me, I think that's kind of normal, Laughing Cedar. Especially with content like Thorpe TV, or they're like the Thorpe-averse. I just feel like that's kind of natural as they go through their loops. Like there are loops that I'm like more checked in for, that I'm watching everything live. Then there are loops that like I'm watching it like from time to time live. And then other times other stuff I'm just watching like the VODs after the fact. So I mean, it wouldn't surprise me like if you're kind of, because you were like super invested for quite a while. So like it's natural, I think, to kind of drift out a little bit and like take a break, and then something will happen and you'll get, pulled back in again. I think that's how it is for me. I never like, it's kind of like that with wrestling too. Like I never actually like stop watching, but it's just a matter of like, am I keeping up on everything like, hour by hour, or am I checking in like once a day or like once a week?
The ERS operator to talk to the subscriber, even if he or she can't get to the phone.
I'm biased toward Ben. You think I'm biased in favor of Ben over Grace? That's crazy.
I hear you fine.
Okay, I can hear you loud and clear too. Thank you very much.
And they never have to worry about getting to the telephone. So they press the button, they hear our voice come out of this.
Yeah, I agree, Get Crack. And a lot of that, to me, that was such a good, like, rich run of content. But a lot of it was collab driven, and a lot of those people aren't available for collabs anymore. But there's got to be more people out there.
Speaker, we determine the problem and send out the authorities.
Now I feel very comfortable, and I feel that
I think Grace would be like a good parallel activity friend, where like you could hang out, but you didn't really have to do anything. Like you could do your thing and she could do her thing, but you'd just be like, in proximity. Does that make sense?
I am not alone, and
I love the struggle sessions. I don't like them. I don't like seeing Grace in the struggle sessions, but I appreciate them as a viewer because A, they're just completely unhinged, and B, like that I am interested in the dynamic between the two of them and how they interact with each other. So, but I mean, I wouldn't say that I like the struggle sessions, but I do find them like interesting. The Grace vibe content is my favorite stuff. The cigarette content, the singing, the like just random nonsense. That's my favorite Thorpe content. Or Ben on Chaotic Truth. That's Ben's best to me, is when he's on Chaotic Truth.
have someone that I can call in an emergency, whatever it is.
That's my thought, south to west. Just if people on your level won't work with you, then just do what Memphis did and just bring in literally anybody that sends a tape in. And some of it'll work and some of it won't, but at least it'll be something, fresh every once in a while.
Box and the little pendant that they wear around their neck.
What's up,
enables
ATF
them
Media?
to live in their home independently.
Hey, ATF Media, I heard, is this true? I got word through the grapevine that you were trolling people in the WCW live chat. Is that true?
And everyone, including their family, have the peace of mind knowing that they're doing well.
But how much does this cost? Leased systems may cost as little as $15 a month for Lifeline and up to $25.
Grace can't make the vibe content 7 days a week, though. I mean, we saw that, back during the like magical summer. She would have 3 like really strong streams, like 2 or 3, and then she needed like to go into her trad girl charging port for like a day or 2, and then she'd come back strong. But if she tried to keep going, which she did sometimes because she was like, emotional over Ben being locked up or whatever, like you could tell when she was like ready to go back into her charging port. So I don't know that would work, that kind of content would work now, but maybe she could do the vibe thing and then do like a couple Ben episodes a week or something. But she's still got to get her port time in.
$5 or more per month plus installation for the ERS system with optional services. Other companies sell complete systems for between $200 and $1,000 depending on their features. For those who cannot afford the monthly subscription fee, there are grants and discounts available through cooperating hospitals, local government, and...
See, I wouldn't be interested in them if they weren't. Like, that's the appeal to me, is that you literally never know what Ben's going to say in a struggle session or what direction it's going to go in. Plus, that's when Grace does like her, like, where she just stares, like, at the chat or stares like through the camera.
And senior citizen agencies. Compared to the cost of in-home nursing care,
No, get crack for me, no.
this investment in independent living is inexpensive at any price. And we'll be right back after this break. What a great way to spend the day at a marina with the boats and the water and the clear air. It just makes you feel so good.
What happened to Bash Ben Fridays? Unfortunately, that went out the window with the monetization, I think.
But we also have our consumer horror file with it, and it's filled with confusing and amusing labels and ads sent in by you, our viewers. And let's get to some right here.
That's so
The first
cool how
one
you
comes from
grabbed
B.
one.
Strickland, who lives in Chula Vista, California. Thought you might be interested in this misplaced word advertisement that appeared in a Long's drugstore flyer. Bansect, flea, and tick for killer dogs and cats. I would buy some rights, B, but I haven't come across any killer dogs or cats in my neighborhood.
Hey, ATF Media, were you the one that brought this show up? Somebody brought it up, and then I wrote it down, but I forgot to look into it, and then I finally did.
Joseph Peschman, who lives in New Berlin, Wisconsin, writes, please read the enclosed recipe and advise where I can find a loaf pan this big. It's a recipe for bran date bread on the Nabisco shredded wheat and bran cereal box. It says, pour ingredients into a 9-foot by 5-foot by 3-foot.
This is great shit. This is troll shit.
Loaf pan. Joseph goes on to ask, where will I find an oven large enough to bake it in? Good question. Well, Joseph, Karen Brellisford of Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, may have found the answer. I couldn't resist sending this clipping
I added that. I've got that in my to watch file, ATF Media.
in when I discovered that Crazy Kelly's, that's a store.
In fact, we almost watched it one day, but then I realized it was an hour long. I thought it was only half an hour.
Was selling giant Toshiba microwave ovens, which were 16 cubic feet.
Wow, holy shit.
I guess
wow.
instead of cooking a roshi rice, you just put the whole cow in. Well, Karen, if you find one, Norman Knab of Cheektowaga, New York, may have just found the right garnish for this concoction. He sends the enclosed ad from the weekly paper of Bell's grocery chain. They're offering a 12-pound, 4-ounce bottle of Heinz catsup for only 89 cents. Norman says, try and lift that one if you can. Here's a lucky ad sent to me by Mrs. James Taylor of Alton, Illinois. It promises that you can shout bingo more often.
To me, I take a lot of what Ben says during the struggle sessions like he's just a heel wrestler talking. Like, it's always like, you know, things are going to change. I'm tired of things going this way. This is it. This is the line in the sand, whatever. And then like the next episode, everything's just like back to normal.
Often when you take your genuine green rabbit's foot to bingo. But when you read the ad further, it says,
which to me is entertaining, but is obviously maybe not the most, functional approach to it since it's their real life. But for me as a viewer, it's entertaining.
this special green rabbit's foot is not available anyplace at any price. Mrs. Taylor writes, I'm confused. It's simple, Mrs. Taylor. Lucky green rabbit's feet aren't available because there is no such thing as a green rabbit.
Say, David, that is lucky. For me, that is.
What's up? It's me. Hey, it's me. Did we ever watch the trilogy of Slothy Heads talking about EFD 306? He was like heavily intoxicated one night, and I was in there talking to him. Slothy Heads, not EFD. And so I was talking to him about the $306, and over the course of the evening, he went into 3 little like diatribes about EFD and what he thought should happen to him for not paying the money back.
More for you in the mornings. Boasts this announcement, which appeared in Trudy Meager's Racine, Wisconsin newspaper. According to...
Well, I mean, if you really don't like it, if you really genuinely don't like the content, the most effective thing you can do is to not watch it. Because if you just go in and argue with them, then that's what they want. That's telling them that the content is working. Because I think Ben and Grace operate under kind of a any publicity is good publicity, any engagement is good engagement.
Hardee's restaurant, their special coupon is good for 1 cup of coffee and 1 cinnamon raisin. Trudy asks, is that really supposed to fill you up for a hard day's work? And she adds, would you believe Hardee's slogan is where...
Yeah, in one of them, it's me. He's like I said, he's really drunk and he's got his camera pointing outside and he's like, here's a snowman. And he's like, hey, Mark Fusion, you ever get that money from EFD?
Out to win you over? Sorry, Hardee, but your hearty breakfast won't even satisfy Ms. Meager. I'll bet most of you are sitting there just breathless, waiting to find out the answers, and here they are. First, we called the Ann Howard Company, the advertisers of the genuine green rabbit's foot. They're in Freeport, New York. We wanted to find out why it is not available anywhere at any price. And they said, and this is a quote, the company officially does not want to comment on the ad, period. Maybe they felt it was bad luck. Who knows? The flea and tick treatment for killer dogs and cats, the extra-large cooking pan, the oven, and the catsup bottles were all simply printing goof-ups. As a matter of fact, when we brought this mistake made on the box to the Nabisco Company, it was the first time...
You tried to not distract her in a way that was going to get her in trouble? Why?
Time that they had heard about it, and they're going to change the packaging. However, 1 cinnamon raisin offered at...
I don't think Grace would like that. I don't think Grace wants to be like kid gloved. At least not by chat. In IRL, apparently, maybe.
At Hardee's in Racine, Wisconsin, was not a mistake. According to Hardee's, when you ask for 1 cinnamon raisin, they know automatically you mean a cinnamon raisin biscuit. Now, I hope that clears up the confusion, but if you find a confusing label or ad or something you want us to check out, then send it to us. And if we use it on the show, we'll send you a Fight Back t-shirt and a copy of our theme. Man. Do I have time for just...
Should I try to get a Fight Back t-shirt off of eBay or something?
One more letter? Yeah! Here it is, folks. Previously selected from our horror file. This one comes from Laura Owen, who lives in Sturgis, Kentucky. She sends us a clipping from the Sturgis News in Sturgis, and it says, for sale, 1 husband will sell cheap. Well, according to Steve Catlett, who's the head of the classified ad department at the Sturgis News, the woman who placed the ad was just pulling a prank on her husband. He is not for sale. How many calls did she get? We tried to reach the lady who placed the ad, but her phone just kept ringing. Who knows? Maybe she did sell her husband after all. When you look around at all the beautiful boats in this marina, all you can think about is just relaxing and having a wonderful time. But are you aware that 1,200 people die in boating accidents every year in this country? And many of those deaths are really unnecessary.
Wow.
Most of those victims might have been saved simply if they had been wearing life jackets. But it seems that boaters have all sorts of excuses for not putting them on. They're either bulky or uncomfortable, they're not very fashionable, and they interfere maybe with getting...
You don't think she likes it when people say stuff about Ben? I always think that's the stuff that makes her laugh, and she ends up like highlighting it on screen.
A tan. Some people apparently even feel that it's just not macho to wear a life vest. And as we were taping this intro, a boat turned over right here in the harbor. Fortunately, as you can see, the people on that boat had life jackets. And when the boat was righted, everything was okay.
Ben seems like a boating type of guy. Don't they have a boat? I think they have a boat.
Most boat owners have life jackets aboard. They use them for seat cushions and pillows, even for boat fenders. Anything and everything but what they were designed for, to save lives.
I'll be real. I think Ben wearing a yacht captain hat would be a great gimmick.
In an emergency.
Imagine like Ben saying everything that he says, but he's wearing a yachting cap while he says it. It would be so much more enraging.
Boaters believe they're such good swimmers they can always take care of themselves in the water. What they forget is that they may be unconscious when they hit the water. They may also be unprepared for the shock of being thrown into cold ocean or lake water.
What happens is, and if you've ever jumped into cold water...
Like, imagine Ben lecturing Grace with this hat on.
Yourself, you know it. You go, and if you're submerged...
Imagine Ben being like, Grace, you need to defend me more when you're out there because you've ruined my reputation, but he's wearing the yacht hat. That would be so Keno.
When you do that, you catch a lung full of water,
Skipper
you destroy
Ben,
your
yes.
buoyancy, and you continue your voyage to the bottom. You're not going to be able to just bob right up and casually swim to wherever you're going.
Not all life...
Ben starts a new arc where he realizes that, like, the reason that Grace is struggling is because he's really kind of, fallen out of, his routine. So he wants to, like, whip the RV back into shape. So he starts dressing, like, in a full naval captain's attire.
Life jackets are alike.
See, this is the shit you would get if I was in charge of writing. We'd get a legitimate, like, Ben as a naval drill sergeant arc.
Some are not designed for rough waters. Others offer only minimal
Yes,
buoyancy.
of course, Bob. You'd have to say
the most
captain.
familiar jacket is the Type 3, which is more of a...
I'm sorry, Grace. Were you speaking to someone else in the room? Because I don't see anyone else in here, and all I see is you and a captain. But I didn't hear the word captain, so I don't know who you were speaking to just then.
ski vest. Face down in the water, it will not turn you over. It will just give you some minimum buoyancy to hold you up. If that jacket isn't properly fit, when you go into the water, it's possible to lose the jacket on entrance. There are some new jackets that are coming on the...
Ben wakes up Grace on a live at like 4:30 in the morning with a bugle.
market now that are a lot more comfortable. They're the Type 5 hybrid jacket. They're comfortable to wear. Then after you enter the water, you'll have some type of an inflating device, whether it be manually by blowing it up or by having an automatic inflator through the CO2 cartridges.
You got it, Stephen Dave. Wow, look at this deluxe life. Is this for like if you... for people who need a life jacket, but they're worried about not looking cool while drowning?
Brett Meyer, our student volunteer, jumped into the water again, this time wearing a Type 1 life jacket. Even when he tried to float face down, the jacket turned him over and held his face up out of the water. Obviously, there's more to choosing a life jacket than just the price.
Well, whenever you buy a life jacket, you want to be sure and open the jacket up and read the label on the inside. It will tell you the type of the jacket, the buoyancy, and if it is a Coast Guard approved life jacket.
I think it's easy to figure out why people don't
What
wear
a
life
vibe.
jackets. Many motorcyclists won't wear helmets, even though they can save their lives. And look at how long...
Hey, Eddie, how's it going? You wouldn't trust Grace with a boat.
long it's taken for people just to buckle up when they get in their cars. People take chances with their lives because for some silly reason, they want to appear either unafraid...
We just need Grace in the yellow bikini laying out on the, I don't know, what on the deck, I guess.
...stylish, or they're just plain lazy. But what really gets to me is when I see parents letting their kids walk around boat decks without life jackets. Children should wear life jackets.
Ben firing. Now we're turning it into Jackass. He's firing an ancient cannon inside the RV.
And they should have them in their correct size. And you shouldn't just nag them to put on their vests. Why not set an example and wear one yourself? There are worse things than coming home from a weekend on the water without an all-over tan. 1,200 people last year never came home at all.
Ben puts up a poll whether or not Grace should walk the plank.
And we'll be right back after this break.
And he's like threatening to keel haul people.
We're just about out of time, but you're probably wondering, What happened to that Casio G-Shock and the Timex watch? At the beginning of the show, we took a Timex and a Casio G-Shock watch. These two watches had already been hit by hockey sticks and dropped from a helicopter. We placed them in a stainless steel mailbox next to two M80s. We then locked them in and set off the blast. The door was blown open, and one of the watches, the Casio G-Shock, was actually blown against the door and was found a few feet away. Remarkably, the Timex was still inside the mailbox. And here they are, the Casio G-Shock and the...
Hey, what's up, Erod? I meant to tell you guys, Savvy Guy has a newish video out, and he's not walking around. And for those who wondered if Jimmy ever made videos outside of his car, he has made several recently. But Savvy Guy made this video, and I'm not going to say that I know this for sure, but it sure did look like he made the video while he was taking a shit. And it was about how men who, like, don't expect... If a woman... If you don't make the pussy wet, essentially, like, don't expect to be treated good by a woman. That's what the whole video was about. It was the most loopy, like, over and over Savvy Guy video ever, which is really saying something. But I think he made it while he was taking a shit. I'm pretty sure.
Timex are still running. I guess they took a blasting, and they kept on lasting. And as I always say, stay aware and informed, and fight back.
That's the caveman word for wearable tech.
And don't let anyone rip you off. If you'd like to write to Fight Back, here's our address. Fight Back, Burbank, California, 91523.
Stand up and hold your ground. Fight back.
Man, I love this song, man. This song hits. I'm going to talk to his daughter and see if she would endorse me taking over Fight Back. Like, I'll go to, like, if they short you by a sauce at, like, McDonald's or Burger King, I'll go to the store and, like, confront the manager about it. I'll confront Ben and Grace about Laughing Cedar's reduced enjoyment of the streams.
You are smiling in your face.
Dude, it's so good. Okay, we're going way back here. Okay, so this is Fight Back, episode 8405. Well, this is the last Fight Back one we'll watch. Then I got a David Horowitz clip to show, and then we'll move on to the next person. But this one's from 1984. Oh, here's the guy that sang the song. Did you watch that video, Dave's channel, where it looked like he was taking a shit? Did you think he was taking a shit? It seemed like it to me.
Thank you, and glad you could be with us for another edition of Fight Back. An Atonic running shoe commercial demonstrates how its Quasar model is so effective in cushioning shock that an egg placed in the heel will not break. Well, we're going to challenge that claim. If the outside of your home is beyond fixing up with paint, I'll show you how a new vinyl siding might be a long-lasting and inexpensive...
Oh my gosh, is this like the dawn of vinyl siding? How crazy. These videos are so cool. Even from just that perspective of, like, seeing, like, what was going on in society through the lens of these weird shows.
Alternative. The long lines at the supermarket checkout counter bug most of us. I'll tell you about an innovative way of paying for...
Ben and Grace Thorpe are popular YouTubers. They're also a little bit controversial. Their most recent controversy involves one of their most faithful viewers, Laughing Cedar, who says the recent struggle sessions aren't up to snuff. We're going to confront Ben and Grace about this drop-off in quality. Stay tuned.
For groceries that takes seconds, but it's very controversial. One of the main problems a car owner faces once the warranty is up is how to find a qualified mechanic. I'll have some tips, and I'll have a lot more right here.
This was not a limited to one place show like most of the stuff that we watch. This was like a highly, widely available program.
On Fight Back. When it comes to testing the softness of products in commercials, there seems to be nothing more useful than an ordinary egg. Now, Charmin toilet paper used one to drop on a stack of their tissues. Spenco used one to test its bicycle seat pad. Bounty bounced a dozen eggs to test their paper towels and how strong they are. And Eclipse used several dozen to test their bicycle.
YouTube streamer Grace Thorpe promised to sell Thorpe TV to Mark Fusion for $5 if she wasn't making a living off of YouTube by the beginning of March. We look into that issue on this episode of Fight Back.
Basket. We challenge these commercials with varying results. And now comes another commercial using the incredible edible egg. This time, it's used to show how the padded inside of a running shoe protects the heel of the foot to absorb the punishing and pounding that runners and joggers experience. In the commercial, a man ties an egg into a Brand X running shoe. Then,
look how plentiful eggs were back then. You could just destroy them in sneakers for fun.
And he does the same with the Atomic Quasar. When he slams the shoes down, the egg breaks.
Bird flu, I'm pretty sure is why they're up right now.
In the Brand X shoe, but the one in the Atomic shoe stays intact. We decided to challenge that commercial ourselves. We called upon veteran commercial challenger Dr. Webley Freon, who took
What do you mean, ATF Media? That's not very nice.
Careful pains to select the most crucial element in our challenge.
Is this guy can't be real, right? This has to be some kind of a weird actor or something, right?
The egg itself. Entering his lab, Dr. Freon places the first egg into the other shoe and ties it carefully.
A deal's a deal.
Just the way they do it on the commercial. He does the same with the Atomic shoe, and he is ready for the test. Uh-oh, trouble already. Now the other shoe. As you just saw, Dr. Freon just couldn't keep the egg in either shoe. Now, when we checked with Atonic in Boston, we were told that they only ran that particular commercial as a test, and they rejected it on the grounds that it wasn't scientific enough. And then they...
I base all of my economic forecasts off the price of Marie Callender's frozen spaghetti and meatball dinners.
Produced this one.
If you think all running shoes give you the same protection, you're in for a shock.
I think Grace still looks good. I think you guys are crazy.
Only the Etonic Quasar has this special plate to help disperse shock and provide stability. Dr. McGregor's foot cradle for cushioning and a rear lacing harness for a custom fit heel. Quasar? Conventional shoe. Now when you think about...
She's a Viking. She's gotta have that she needs that extra pillaging strength.
Running more shock-free, think about Etonic Quasar. You'll be a step ahead.
Jack Ketter of Livermore, California saw that commercial, and he wanted us to challenge it. And you know, that's exactly what we did. To do this part of the challenge, once again, we have brought in noted egghead, Dr. Webley Freon. Now, Dr. Freon, the eggs are not staying in the shoes. What are you going to do to keep the eggs in the shoes? Pins. At this point, I was getting very skeptical. Pins to hold in eggs? What kind of a solution is that? Oh, I see. The pins are used to cradle the egg. The heads of the
Dr. Mark Fusion.
pins
Whoops.
are covered with rolled up pieces of double-faced tape. The tape is used to stick the eggs to the pin, holding the egg in the shoe when it hits the floor.
Are you ready? Let's go and do it. And the tension mounts.
Both shoes are now secured to 8-foot boards. The length of the boards were carefully calculated to represent a force applied when a person drives his or her heel into a running
boy,
shoe.
This is something.
But the question is, after all this preparation, will the eggs stay in the shoe?
This is the kind of content I like and the kind of content I like to make. High effort, very little, very little rationale.
I hate to say this, but Dr. Freon is in trouble. Though the egg broke on the floor and not in the Atonic shoe like it did in the other shoe, Dr. Freon still has to come up with a solution to keep the egg from bouncing. And that wasn't it. The egg still didn't break in the Atonic shoe. It bounced so hard that it ripped out 2 of the pins and took them with it.
Wow.
But it still didn't break until it hit the floor. But there was no bounce in the other shoe, and the egg was broken. It looks like Dr. Freon is now getting desperate.
You think she's been looking
This
hella
time he
rough?
puts a piece of tape over each egg. This should solve the problem, he hopes.
I think AI is neat and has some useful parts to it, but man, it's like, even on YouTube now, I'll see something that obviously it's like clickbait, but I'll click on it, it'll say it's like a lol cow documentary, and then it's all fucking AI. Like, it's crazy.
It still doesn't work. The Atonic shoe bounced out both the egg and the tape. The egg was destroyed in the other shoe. Determined to solve this problem, Dr. Freon decided to go all the way.
Deconstructing Boyd and the intersectionality of trad girl morality. It sounds about right.
Ready? Himself.
I do think they have made a lot of the AI, like, and I'm not talking about like the indie, like more of like the lower profile or like independent AI companies, but like the big companies like Bing and Meta. I think their AI has gotten significantly worse, and I think that's like on purpose, kind of. Like, I tried to make a thing for like a thing of the Sprinter van with like that said Thorpe alert, and I used to be able to get it like perfect. And now it's like even getting basic text is a lot harder than it used to be. I think they're making it like intentionally worse to like keep the best shit, or try to keep the best shit like out of the public's hands.
And of course, Dr. Webley Freon was played by our loving producer, Lloyd Faxon. He deserves a hand for that. But the big question is, did the commercial pass our challenge? When we told Atonic about our problem of keeping the eggs in the shoes, they not only sent us the original boards used in their commercial, they also sent 3 people from Boston to show us how they kept the eggs in the shoes. The pins were actually...
See, this is a pretty like popular, high-profile show. Like, these companies are sending like multiple representatives to protect the integrity of their egg in the shoe promises.
Their idea. However, it seems that since the original commercial was made, Atonic added more soft padding inside the heel. They said that is what caused the eggs to bounce out when we tried it. Now, the egg never did break until it bounced out of the shoe. And even though our challenge failed, the Atonic shoe passed with flying colors. Do you agree? So do I. Now that the question of Atonic shoes is resolved, I have a question for homeowners. How is the paint holding up on your house? Probably one of the most discouraging problems is trying to figure out how to keep the outside of your home looking good. Even though the look of wood siding on the house can be great, nothing looks worse than real wood when it splits, cracks, and the paint starts to peel off. Wood may last a lifetime, but only if it's kept painted and repaired. Now, many people turn to some look-alike material like aluminum or steel siding to make a house easier to maintain. They've all been on the market for years, though it's also been on the market for years. It's only recently that vinyl siding...
Oh my gosh. You guys, I don't know if any of you checked out that page I put up one time on my community page. It was called Currently Loading ... But it's a woman who makes like car vlogs, and they're about how her ex-husband is a narcissist, and like basically all of her problems come from that narcissist. I guess someone in the comment section said something really rude to her or upset her, told her to like grow some backbone or something. So she's got scheduled for like 2 p.m. today, a response video. And she says, she puts a warning in it that like she's really angry and cursing. And I'm like, this, we'll probably have to watch it because I love the like when they make a video responding to hate comments. And if she's already like warning people in the thumbnail, hopefully it'll live up to it.
Has been improved enough to compete with those
hashtag escape narcissism
conventional metal sidings. Vinyl siding closely resembles the painted wood siding it imitates, except that it doesn't peel and it doesn't need repainting.
Grace O's squat.
Vinyl siding is more expensive than aluminum.
Grace took down the treadmill stream. I was pretty bummed about that.
Siding, but less expensive on the average than steel. But according to its manufacturers, vinyl is at least as tough as steel and resists dents and weathering far better than aluminum. There's also a considerable difference in the warranties offered by siding manufacturers and contractors. Vinyl siding is usually guaranteed for as long as the person who bought it owns the house. One manufacturer, Bethlehem Steel, also guarantees the cost of labor if its product needs to be replaced. A 30-year prorated warranty is common with aluminum siding. Labor may be guaranteed by the contractor, but not by the manufacturer. Steel siding usually...
Me too, Stephen David. And YouTube knows I love them, so they send them to me. Plus, we just watched that one the other day from Ellie, what's her name? So I think the algorithm knew I was like needing more of that, more hate comment addressing videos.
Usually comes with a 20-year warranty on the material, but again, only the contractor can guarantee workmanship and labor. Of course, to a lot of people, nothing can take the place of wood. But if what you want is the line and pattern of painted wood siding, you might consider the convenience and long-term economy of vinyl siding. But be sure you're dealing with a licensed, established siding contractor in your community, and make sure you get a written warranty. And we're going to warrant that we'll be right back to fight back after these messages.
The customer simply puts their card with a magnetic stripe on it through the reader, punches in their 4-digit security number.
Oh, wow.
It's just that quick.
No way. Cool. Did you see that? We're going to get to see like the very genesis of the card swipe. People were still using the carbon copy in some places in the episode we saw from a few years later, too.
I was really surprised recently to find out that low prices aren't the #1 thing that shoppers are looking for in supermarkets today. A trend survey for the supermarket industry said that fast checkout was the most important service that any supermarket could offer. Well, help may be on the way. Some supermarkets are experimenting with ways to speed up the checkout. I went to Des Moines, Iowa to check out such an experiment. It's called the debit.
We should do a Sovereign Citizen episode. Man, this is the beginning of debit cards, guys. What a ride.
Card. Though now in very limited use in the states of California, Florida, and Maryland, it was pioneered in the...
So at this time, only 3 states had access to debit cards. That is nuts.
State of Iowa. Hy-Vee food stores like this one in Des Moines were the first to try it, and the experiment has worked.
Just briefly, what happens, the customer buys their groceries as they normally would. The cashier rings them up as normal. And when it comes to that point where the cashier tells the customer how much it is, the customer says, well, I want to use my bank card. Once that happens, then the customer simply puts their card with the magnetic stripe on it through the reader, punches in their 4-digit security number, and hits the enter button, and that sends the transaction.
Look at that nerd.
Through the banking channels. It's over. It's just that quick. Takes 5-6 seconds, usually at the most. When the minute goes through, the customer is taking...
They just put that person's debit card on national TV.
Now the customer's account and put into our account.
5 to 6 seconds and you are on your way. But it's obvious that if you're the type that enjoys the float, a person who writes a check on Friday and deposits the money to cover it on Monday, the debit card is not for you.
Well, I believe that most customers, by and large, the vast majority of customers, don't utilize the float. Certainly there's a lot of conversation about that, and I suppose there are a percentage of the customer base that does utilize float. However, the existence of float today is not as great a factor as it was a number of years ago because of improved collection techniques in the banking system.
Why do you use the debit card?
Primarily because I have a 1-year-old baby, and it's just a lot less hassle than writing a check.
How do you feel, though, about the money coming direct?
Wow, what the fuck does that have to do with anything, lady? You just want to flex that you're a mom? What's the deal? What does having a child have to do with writing a check versus whatever? The kid's in the cart.
Out of your account.
I like it better that way, that I have more control over what I'm spending, because it comes right out. I can't go spend it someplace else, and it helps me set my priorities.
Do you have cases where the customer does not have enough money in that checking or savings account to pay for their grocery, and they do have the debit card?
I only know 2 cases where that has happened in almost 4 years' time. Most people have a pretty fair idea of what they have in there, or if they don't, we find a lot of them use the automatic teller machine that we also have in the store to check the balance before they get the check stand to find out whether they have enough to take care of it or not.
If the debit card is the wave of the future, is it possible the day will come when all bank transactions will be right at the point of sale?
Well, if there's one thing I don't like, it's when people blame all their problems on their kid.
As more people become used to the debit card and see the advantages of it, I think it will continue to grow and grow substantially. The results of the Iowa experiment have proven that.
I get what you're saying. I don't think it would. To me, it just doesn't seem like it would be like that much faster. But I don't know. At this time, did they have the thing yet? When you paid with a check, they had to run it through the printer thing, because there was a certain time when they just take the check and like put it in the thing, like put it in the drawer.
That over the past several years, and volume is increasing at very rapid levels today. I would hasten to add, however, that the day of the checklist, or even...
I think she was taking a dig at her ex with that by letting him know that she had started a family.
Cashless society is a long way off.
The debit card has some obvious pluses. It's good for the bank because it cuts down on the cost of processing the millions of checks cashed in the supermarket. For the supermarket, it eliminates millions of dollars.
Dude, and very few industries took advantage of the float idea than professional wrestlers. There are so many bounce check stories in the professional wrestling world.
Lost on bad checks, and they get their money right up front. And it does speed up those checkout lines for all of us. But it doesn't look like it will replace checks or cash at the supermarket for some time. Debit cards are only being used on a limited basis.
Do stores take checks now? I think some do, but not all.
Until it can be determined whether all of you will accept the idea. And that might be some time to come. Anyway, speaking of ideas, when our teleremote crew is out shooting stories...
Believe it or not, and this is true, I promise I'm not making this up, when the idea of debit cards came along, and even credit cards, there was a big pushback because a lot of religious people felt like it was this inevitable... a cashless society, which is like, I guess, one of their signals of the downfall of the world is if we go to a cashless society. And so like a lot of people pushed back against debit cards and credit cards because they felt like they were like demonic things.
For Fight Back, they usually take some time off to ask for questions you might like to have answered on this program. And our first question comes from Sandy Geller.
I want to know why, when packaged meat is prepackaged.
I think in my life, the only thing I ever really used the check for was like some places you couldn't just call them and pay, or if you called with a credit card, you had to pay a fee, or they didn't have like a lot of like direct payment. You had to like send in, or like digital payment, you had to like send in a check to the power company and stuff like that. But that's been a long time ago.
Why the meat on top looks so beautiful, and when you get home, If you buy prime rib or you buy a very expensive cut of meat,
You think they were
underneath
right?
it's either gristle.
You think that the debit cards were part of like a satanic, demonic uprising? I don't know about that.
Are all fat. Who do you go to for this kind of a complaint?
Good question. Sandy, you should take your complaint directly to the store manager. Tell the manager, if you continue to find meat packaged in this way, you will take your shopping dollars somewhere else, and do it. You can also write to the corporate office and tell them the same thing. And don't think that your money isn't important. Some state laws prohibit stores from concealing damage or the inferiority of a meat product through its packaging. If you find deceptive packaging to be a persistent problem in a particular store, lodge a complaint with the agency in your state that oversees meat inspection. And our next question comes from Theda Reichman.
My question is, what can concerned parents and grandparents and adults do about promoting better television programming for children? Not just cartoons and simple type stories, but ones with real children working out real problems that young people can identify with.
Theda, what you can do is to become a vocal TV viewer. Start writing to local stations, networks, or cable companies when you feel a particular children's show is especially bad or good. Explain what your objections are or why you like the program. The problem is that too many people only comment about what they find to be bad programming and fail to make program decision makers aware of what you find to be good. If you do this, you will help educate the TV programmers about what shows you as a viewer want your children to see. Now, if enough people participate, you can influence the quality of TV programs. And our next question...
You really can, too. It's another big thing in the 80s where these, like... And they eventually, over time, became politicized into, like, some of the groups you see today. But in the old days, it was just, like, a bunch of Karens would get together and be mad about Married with Children. And then those are the groups that kind of morphed into the, like, Liberty Moms or Moms for Liberty or whatever.
Comes from Robert Casanari.
Hi, David. I'd like to ask if there's an organization that can help me find a better mechanic. I've gone to my mechanic over and over again, and...
That's what I was wondering. It's me. That was an interesting headpiece she had on.
The same problem. And I'd like to find out if there is a place like that where I can find a better mechanic.
Bob, I've always felt that the best way to find a qualified mechanic is the same as trying to find a good doctor or a dentist or any other professional. And that is ask a friend or neighbor for a recommendation. It's unfortunate that only 2 states, Hawaii and Michigan, require the testing and licensing of auto mechanics. Of course, you can't complain to your local consumer protection agency.
Yeah, it was a big deal. Like, all these moms were so mad at these shows that were just the downfall of society and these demonic, satanic shows, and it was literally Married with Children. Like,
you can see if you're ripped off.
Which, by the way, the same people now are like, well, you could never have a show like Married with Children now. Well, no, we couldn't because of people like you, because you didn't want us to have that show, 40 years ago. But now you remember it is a great show, and so now you're like, well, that's an example of what's great. But at the time, they hated this shit.
Still, there are a lot of good mechanics around, and some have credentials to prove it. The National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence has been testing and certifying mechanics since 1972. By taking a written test, a mechanic may be certified in any or all of 8 types of repair work: engine performance, engine repair, transmission, front end, brakes, heating and air conditioning, and electrical systems. Certification is absolutely no guarantee that every job that mechanic does will be perfect, but it's at least some assurance that the mechanic knows what he's looking at under the hood of your car.
Basically, yeah, it did. It put a lot of it got so much attention and press for Fox, who was a pretty fledgling network at the time.
It tells them that the man has cared enough to...
They were like a distant, almost like a UPN type channel at the time.
Try to further his education in the field that he's chosen. He's worked at it. He's going to be a professional mechanic.
I don't know how many of you are old enough to remember, but they didn't even have 7-day-a-week programming at some points early on.
And he wants to show the world that he is a professional mechanic.
The ASE Institute certifies only the mechanics themselves, not the dealerships or garages they work for. But it's a good selling point.
We can advertise that we have this type of mechanic here. It's probably about the only way that you can tell whether you have a mechanic that knows something or not, rather than just trial and error. At least gives you some idea.
A lot of service departments and garages still display the familiar blue and orange NIASE shingle. Those are now being replaced with the Institute's new ASE logo. It means the same thing the old sign did, that there is at least one ASE certified mechanic working there. Now, it doesn't mean that every mechanic in the shop itself is ASE approved, nor is a mechanic certified in engine repair necessarily the most qualified person to work on your car's electrical system. That's the kind of question you, the customer, must ask. Certification is not a guarantee of satisfaction, but it does tell you that mechanic has at least a couple.
I don't know why I went through like a little mini portal for a second, and I was like, man, remember how great, like, I was like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is like legitimately like a great movie, like even beyond the novelty of like not just cartoons interacting with real people, but like the incredible lineup of cartoon characters they got for that show, like Mickey and Bugs interacting. And then I was like, and I got pulled out of the portal, and now I'm back.
Couple of years experience in auto repair and was able to pass a written test on his or her skills. And when you're looking for someone to fix your car, that's not a bad recommendation. Robert Casanari, I hope that answers your question regarding mechanics. If you see the Fight Back teleremote crew out shooting a story and you have a question that you want answered, let them know about it. And we'll be right back after this. And now let's look into a case from our...
Oh, cool world, King. Hang on. Okay, I'll be right back. I gotta write that down. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna check that out from the library.
Our Fight Back fact file. That awful sound means it's time for another amusing or confusing label or product mistake that you want me to check out. And this one comes from Ingrid Marcus, who's a photography buff and lives in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. When Ingrid saw this photo special coupon in a Walgreens drugstore newspaper ad, she was delighted. It not only offered a variety of film processing services for only 99 cents a roll, but it was good until, now take a close look at this date. July 22nd, 1994. That's right, folks. 1994 is when the offer expired.
Okay, I'm back. I'll write that down. How you doing, King? You saw Cool World at a theater?
All right. Now, Ingrid wants to know if Walgreens...
We're coming up on the 30th anniversary of one of my favorite movies of all time that I saw at a theater. And when I went to see it, there was like a Catholic protest out front. There were like people with signs saying that like you were gonna go to hell if you went in to see it. And it was such a cool theater too, because it was at like a strip mall, but you walked into like the strip mall, and then once you got in there, it was almost like a labyrinth, and there was like all this shit inside there. And there was like a full-size multi-room theater in there. I think they had like 2 movies, maybe 2 theaters. But I saw Showgirls on opening day, and it was like the craziest shit.
Walgreens is obligated to honor this offer until July of 1994. Well, I called Walgreens to find out. Now, you probably think they told us it was a printing error, and they can't possibly honor it, right? Right. Wrong. They did say it was a printing error, but regardless, they are going to honor the...
I think it's September 25th is the 30th anniversary.
...coupon, as it claims, until July 1994. Now, that's what I call standing behind your advertising. This is a very rare situation, and I think it deserves a special place in our Fight Back fact file. Now, you might find something.
Yeah, my sister was dated like a guy that was like a mechanic, and he was kind of like he was an alcoholic too. And so like, I don't remember how it ended up happening, but we had been going there to see movies, and I think either the week before or the week after that, we saw From Dusk Till Dawn, the like Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez movie. And then we went to see Showgirls, and there was like all the Catholic like protesters. They were like legitimately mad too, and I thought it was so funny given like what the movie actually was.
Something that deserves a special place here. And if you find a misleading label or a product that just doesn't seem to live up to its promises or some other goof up in the marketplace, I want to know about it. And to Ingrid Marcus of Milwaukee for being so aware, we're going to send a Fight Back t-shirt to your home in Wisconsin. And remember, stay aware and informed and fight back and don't let anyone rip you off.
All alcoholics in the club.
Right. If you want to write to us, our address is Fight Back, Burbank, California, 91523.
Okay, so I'm just going to warn you, we're going to go over to my favorites for a second. I want to show you another video with David Horowitz, and just so you know, you're going to see Foot Girl, so brace yourselves. All right, here we go. So this is just a clip of from a live news broadcast with David Horowitz from Fight Back.
A gun to his back. All right, well, let me read this.
Hold on. And this is 1987, it looks like.
Gary Stolman suddenly appeared on the set of KNBC's evening newscast just as consumer reporter David Horowitz was being introduced.
Pardon me? What is this? Let me see what it says. All right. He's got a gun to his back. All right, well, let me read this. Folks, we have someone on the set who's standing here and would like me to read this this copy which was just handed to me. You want to tell me your name or not? What is it? And Gary, where are you from?
KNBC then cut away from its newscast.
You know, it was like the Twilight Zone. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I didn't realize, I said to myself, this is not really happening to me.
Stolman's statement was a bizarre tale of space creatures and the CIA. Minutes after he handed it to Horowitz, the police arrived, and Stolman put the pistol down and was led away. A KNBC sportscaster who watched the drama unfold said no one realized Stolman's gun was just a toy.
Well, people were terrified. You know, there have been situations where they've gone into studios in other cities where those guns have been real guns, and the control booth immediately, it was kind of like, oh my God, he's got a gun. They immediately said, go to black and kill the mics.
Stolman was no stranger to the people here. His father used to work for the station, and the younger Stolman had been given permission to watch the broadcast from the studio. Stolman's father later released a statement that said his son had a history of mental problems. A police spokesman, meanwhile, who said Stolman's been charged with a threatening action with intent to terrorize, indicated Stolman did not intend physical harm.
A threatening action with intent to isolate, terror, censor, and terrorize you sick, evil freaks.
He saw us arriving. He put the gun down and said, I don't want to hurt anybody, and that was it.
Moments after the police left the station, the KNBC newscast resumed with a report on the incident. Ann McDermott, CNN, Burbank, California.
Coverage of the incident that thousands of Channel 4 viewers watched in shock. A gunman walking onto our news set and ordering David Horowitz to read a statement on live television. We'll show you what happened, and we'll have details on the man who did it.
A full report on that story and the rest of the day's top news next on Nightside. Please.
Morrison. Kelly Lang. Fritz Coleman weather. Fred Rogan, sports. Jess Barlow, cover story.
Jess Barlow.
And David Sheehan, entertainment. Channel 4 News, Nightside, #1 at 11.
Good evening. It has been quite a day here at Channel 4, and tonight security is being beefed up at KNBC after a gunman walked into our news studio right here this afternoon and on live television at gunpoint ordered consumer reporter David Horowitz to read a message live on television.
Somebody heard David Horowitz say fight back and was like, bet.
Nobody was hurt. That gunman is in police custody tonight.
Crazy.
And Jess's cover story takes a look at what hundreds of thousands of Shock Channel 4 news viewers watched on television on the 4 o'clock news. Jess?
Kelly, the man who had been permitted to watch the broadcast in the studio had given no indication of his intent. He had been sitting quietly until David Horowitz was ready to begin broadcasting his consumer segment.
Because, you know, one of the nicest things about shopping by mail order...
Oh, my God.
Pardon me? What is this? Let me see what it says. All right.
He's got a gun to his back.
All right, well, let me read this. Folks, we have someone on the set who's standing here and would like me to read this copy which was just handed to me.
Man, imagine the vibe, man. Wow.
What is it? And Gary, where are you from?
At that point, the control room was ordered to go to black, kill the studio mics, and put up a standby slide. But Horowitz continued to read, and the gunman kept the gun in his back.
I was warned in 1981 by someone with connections at the CIA to stay off the computers, that they didn't trust people on computers. When I began receiving disturbing calls from my parents, which led me to believe that something terrible was going on, I was then forced into a mental hospital in Tallahassee, where I learned that my brother-in-law had been driven insane in the same manner that someone was trying to...
I mean, I literally cannot believe how chill David Horowitz is here. This is cold-blooded.
...do to me.
The gun was a precise replica, and police, who by then had entered the facilities, made plans to deal with the situation. But when the statement had been read, the gunman placed the gun on the desk, and anchorman John Beard grabbed it.
Good job, John.
Burbank police wrestled the man to the floor.
Dude, absolutely perfect way that they handled that situation right afterwards, though, man. That anchor guy was right on top of it.
He has been identified as Gary Stolman, and he said he never intended to harm anyone. Indeed, the gun proved a fake. But Stolman may still face a variety of charges. He is the son of pharmacist Max Stolman, a former member of the Channel 4 news team reporting on medicine and related issues. Max Stolman said, "I do have a sick son. He has been hospitalized a number of times. I am thankful he wasn't killed."
Look, I'm sorry, but my son is not guilty on account of Joker mode.
At a news conference this evening, Horowitz, who appeared to maintain his calm throughout the ordeal, acknowledged his fair share of anxiety.
And I've covered enough hostage situations, and I've been in Vietnam, and I know that when someone points a gun at you, you do what they tell you to do and hope that someone's going to save you. You're thinking about your wife and your kids and your family, and you say, what am I doing here? Why is this happening to me? And you just try to maintain as much cool as you possibly can, because I realize that if you do anything out of course, as far as this person's concerned, I don't know whether the guy was a terrorist or a wacko or somebody that was trying to...
Like they said, there was a string of people, I mean, just testing what they could get away with going on to like local live news. So there were other incidents similar to this one that were real.
Get even for something, you don't know who's there.
News director Tom Capra explained his order to pull the plug.
Is that we cannot allow people with guns or...
I need you to read this statement about how Grace Thorpe is a fat hillbilly whore.
...weapons of any kind to take a television station hostage. So the first thing you do is go to black and kill the mics to make sure that the message, whatever it is, never gets out.
Co-anchors John...
What if it would have been Big Mailbox? That's interesting.
John Beard and Kirsty Wilde sat through the ordeal, Kirsty worrying that she had okayed Stolman getting into the studio.
He called me to get in. You can't just walk in here. He called me and said that he was Max Stolman's son, and he lived in the East, and that he had never had the opportunity to see his dad while he was on our air, and could he come down and watch the show.
He had a pass, I noticed the pass on his chest, and nobody noticed anything out of the ordinary until David is on.
If you don't know, Ruby went on a rant where she, on her stream one time, I've got the clip, I just have to post it, but she was impersonating Grace, like how Grace impersonates her. She was doing this Grace impression, and she kept like, she got kind of fixated on the concept of Grace being a fat hillbilly whore.
He's standing behind David, and at first we thought it was just someone who was mixed up, confused, didn't realize he was in the way.
Once the crisis had ended, there was time for reflection and concern for Max Stolman, the gunman's
Looks like they got Bob Armstrong.
father.
Max is a terrific
Max is just one of the nicest people in the entire world.
Absolutely.
And it is awful that this should happen to anyone connected with Max. He's just...
Oh, I thought that was the guy.
Gary Stolman remains in custody. Charges may await a psychiatric evaluation. No one was injured, as Kelly indicated, and the principals involved are tonight regaining their composure. Security has been tightened to the extent no one is permitted in the studios without a permanent pass.
I remember that Rush Limbaugh burner account.
Visitors' passes will no longer be accepted.
With the fridge, not to be confused with the freezer from Memphis.
Keith, Kelly?
All right, Jess, thank you. And a footnote to all of this, LA police say that all of their 911 lines lit up as television viewers watched what was happening.
They're
and
like, you
called
gotta
to
help
tell
the fight
police
back
what
guy.
was happening.
This guy dedicates his life and career to helping people get good quality products and services, and he's the one that the guy holds the gun to? Come on, man. All right, well, that was a little look into David Horowitz and Fight Back. I think it's great content. So now we're going to move into another similar vibe, which is, hold on, I forgot the guy's name. Give me a second. Okay, this is actually recent and ongoing. So there is actually people out here doing this.
I want my veggies grown all...
Hold on. This is Rob Walchak, and he has a segment on the local news show called Hall of Shame.
natural, no pesticides, the way God intended it. And that's what this farmer promises. Now, I didn't see him use any chemicals on his farm, but then again, I never really saw him growing anything on his farm either. This is Farmer Bill selling his bountiful crop.
I don't know, Armand. And if it's on Thorpe TV, it's probably gone, but it might be, were they on Misunderstood?
Grow all your own stuff?
I do. Bill's not just a farmer, he's a super farmer.
Oh, whoops, hang on.
40 different kinds of things.
Here, sorry, I gotta fix the picture. I forgot it's a different aspect ratio. Oh boy, okay.
Impressed? Wait till you hear about his tomatoes.
I do grow 280 different varieties.
Yep, Farmer Bill puts the other growers at the neighborhood farmers market to shame. One, because he's a famous farmer. Two, because he says he grows everything with no pesticides. You use chemicals or anything?
I do not.
Wow, this guy must be working the fields from sun up to sundown. But wait a minute, what's Farmer Bill doing in the middle of the night buying hundreds of pounds of produce? Poor Farmer Bill. He's gonna get plowed right into the Hall of Shame.
Wow.
I've come out here and I've seen you do your sales pitch and you tell people that it's all chemical free. Tell people that it's...
Okay, I'm in on this. I am 100% team Rob Walchak. This guy is A-logging actual people and business owners in his community. I'm down for it.
grown on your own farm. And I've also seen you out at Eastern Market loading up your van full of vegetables.
He knows what he's doing, but he's taking an easier way out.
This is Rich. Rich worked with Farmer Bill. Real name, William Peock, a master gardener who teaches others how to grow like a pro. But Rich says he and Farmer Bill didn't do much farming. They did a lot of selling Bill's supposed crops at local farmers markets.
What you're supposed to say is it's all naturally grown, no chemicals, it's all grown in Lapeer.
That's the home of Bill's farm, nature's heirlooms. Being a farmer is a lot of hard work, preparing the soil, planting the seeds, growing and picking the crop. I gotta tell you, this is one impressive farm. But this isn't Bill's farm. This is Bill's farm. We're the 280 varieties of tomatoes, the 40 different kinds of eggplant, the corn.
This guy really came out to the property, man. This is incredible content.
Looks deserted.
Rick says Bill doesn't get his produce from his farm in Lapeer. He gets it from Detroit, downtown Detroit at the Eastern Market at 1 a.m. That's when the trucks unload the same fruits and vegetables sold at the supermarket. And sure enough, there's Farmer Bill buying vegetables by the crate, handing over cash. You might expect the farmer to have a pickup truck. Not Bill. Crates of crops are loaded in the back of Farmer Bill's minivan. A few days later, here's Farmer Bill pulling his freshly picked harvest out of a garage before the Milford Farmers Market.
Some of these tomatoes I've been growing for saving the seeds for almost 30 years.
Bill's customers seem pretty serious about getting stuff straight off.
He just said he's been growing that type of tomato for over 30 years. What an absolute asshole.
Off the farm.
Wonderful that you're growing those. Okay, now the corn, what do we know about the corn? Are these anything in particular, anything great?
It's not genetically modified.
Huh?
It's not genetically modified.
Get out.
Grow all your own stuff?
I do.
We'll have a dozen
it doesn't.
of these.
It doesn't have any sprays on it.
We'll have a dozen of these.
That
Now
I
you're
can tell
talking
you.
my language.
You can pick up anything on this table, take a bite out of it, and not worry about it.
Well, let's see about that. We buy some of Farmer Bill's veggies and take them to Brighton Labs to be tested. A few days.
This is absolutely amazing. I am living for this.
Days later, the results are in.
We found...
Sir, we had your eggplant analyzed at a lab, and it has been found to be lacking and inadequate.
Chlorothalonil on these samples.
You misrepresented your eggplant, sir.
Okay, and what is that?
It's a type of fungicide.
Fungicide, the kind big farms spray to ensure a bountiful crop.
It's a chemical, right?
Yes, it's a chemical.
Come on, bro.
And is this would it be classified as a toxin?
Yes.
I approach Bill at the next farmer's market. You grow all this stuff yourself?
I do.
You do?
I do.
Where you grow it at?
Up in Lapeer, Michigan.
Yeah? You got a farm up there?
I do.
And you grow all this yourself,
I grow all
huh?
this myself. I do.
And you use chemicals or anything?
I do not.
No
use
chemicals, huh?
I do not use chemicals.
Well, let me tell you, Bill. My name's Rob Walchuk. I work at Fox 2. I tested some of your vegetables.
You did?
Yeah, and it came out positive for chlorothalonil.
Chlorothalonil.
You're a farmer, you know. It's a fungicide.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah. Well, how would?
This is big farm trying to keep us independent growers down.
How would they get on these vegetables you grew?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Some vegetables I do get from other farmers.
Gee, Farmer Bill, let's go way back to 46 seconds ago.
I mean, it's just so cringe because, like, I love that there's nothing like giving people receipts, and this guy is completely blown away that this guy had lab testing done on his vegetables.
When you told me you grew all this stuff yourself. You grew all this stuff yourself?
I do. I do have some stuff from other farmers. My corn comes from another farmer. I do occasionally get tomatoes from other farmers. I occasionally get beets from a guy in Romeo.
Did you ever go to, like, Eastern Market to get things?
Occasionally.
Well, why'd you say that you grow this on your farm, though? Your farm doesn't have anything growing, does it?
My farm right now is fallow because of diseases last year.
Diseases? You might
Right now, my farm is fallow.
want to rethink that whole chemical-free thing, Bill.
Grow all your own stuff?
I do.
Farmer Bill, 2 green thumbs, way down. Hey, Farmer Bill, I'm planting you in the Hall of Shame.
Fuck yes, this show is amazing.
Farmer Bill told me he uses another farmer's land to grow some of his vegetables. Bill says he pays to use that land. I went to that farmer's property and he told me Bill doesn't pay him anything. He does allow Bill to grow a few things there. Actually, he says Farmer Bill tries to grow things, but that he's just starting out. I told him that I
Shit on properly. He tries to grow things.
suspected Bill was just buying produce at Eastern Market and selling it at local farmers markets. He told me.
Now, we heard that Grace Thorpe had raised money to go to Fresh and Fit. We're gonna find out if the claims of her backing out of that trip are true or not.
Flat out, that's what Farmer Bill does.
All a shame.
He's demanding rent money. Can you plead guilty to taking millions of dollars, do less than a year in jail, and come out and still collect rent on the properties you bought while you were taking all that money? Richard Goslin sure thinks you can, and he may be right.
Welcome back.
Hey, look who's back. It's Richard Goslin. Hi, Richard.
Oh my God, this is so good.
Shove it up your
Gee, you'd think a guy who just pled guilty to 3 felonies last year and is already out of jail would be happier. Plus, Richard's already got a new way of getting money.
That's our landlord? Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness is right. How's a guy who was ordered to pay $1.8 million in restitution collect rent on homes he bought while he was stealing money? Any answers, Richard?
You, get out of here.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
This is a note stuck on the front door of Lisa and Tony's Lincoln Park home a few months ago. It's a note from Richard Goslin, the man they rented the home from in 2008, before they knew Richard Goslin and his wife Rita were anything other than a nice gross seal couple renting out a house. That all changed when they saw my first Hall of Shame investigation.
I'm Rob from Fox 2. Can I ask you some questions?
I had a bunch of money invested with her, and then all of a sudden she stopped paying me and everybody else, as far as I can tell.
Rita Goslin was suspected of taking millions of dollars from investors. She claimed she was buying up properties downriver with cash, then selling them for huge profits. Her husband, Richard, was her partner. Initial investors were paid big profits, luring in new investors.
What a roast.
But it was all a sham. The houses they were buying were mortgaged to the hilt. It was just a money-making pyramid that eventually crumbled. After my story aired, the Attorney General's office charged Rita Goslin with running a Ponzi scheme that took in $2.5 million from investors like these people. Some lost their life savings. But Rita Ripoff and her husband Richard had more tricks up their sleeves. On the eve of her trial in 2010, Rita and Richard skipped town. A 7-month manhunt was on. By this time, Richard was charged with several felonies himself for bilking mortgage companies out of close to $2 million. The fugitive couple was finally found living in Humboldt, Tennessee.
These people skipped town.
Were brought back to Michigan and pled guilty.
It's caused me a lot of grief.
They thought it went by Memphis rules, is that if you left town, then you kind of got amnesty for whatever you did while you were there.
And Richard showed no emotion in March of 2011 as some of their more than 80 victims told Judge Annette Berry how they'd been cleaned out by the ruthless couple.
I will pray that you find it in your heart and ask the Lord for forgiveness and make your wrongs right by returning what clearly is not yours.
Richard was cold as ice.
I don't understand what I was supposed to do. Was I supposed to cry?
Rita Goslin was sentenced to 5 to 20 years in state prison. Richard got off with a 1-year sentence, but was ordered to pay $1.8 million in restitution, $100,000 of which was due before he was to be released from jail. But guess what? Richard was released just 6 months after his sentencing, and he didn't come up with $100 grand. He came up with just $1,200. And he came up with this gut-wrenching letter. Dear Judge Berry, my name is Richard Goslin. At my sentencing hearing, you asked if I had any remorse. I was too upset to think of an answer at the time. Grab a tissue.
When I hear Humboldt, I think of the weed people.
There's more. Through all of this mess, no one ever asked me what I lost. Apparently, 4 things he didn't lose were these 4 houses the court says he got by defrauding mortgage companies. According to the Register of Deeds, several of the houses are still owned by RG Properties and Investments, a company formed by Richard and Rita in 2007, a company that was incorporated but has never filed an annual report.
According to the city, the taxes
Dude, this is epic shit. This is epic reporting.
haven't been paid?
Nope.
Since
we've lived here.
Richard's been by the house several times, threatening the couple.
You give us some legal document saying that you own the place, we have no problem giving you the rent. And that's when he exploded up and said, well, we'll just get my lawyer and have you evicted out of here.
Typical Thorpe panelist.
But they're not the only ones.
He claims that he still owns the place and that we got to have the rent money for him, or he's got to.
They got radio foreman too.
Pick this out.
James and Karen say they gave Richard their van so he wouldn't put them and their kids on the street. They too live in a house that the Wayne County Register of Deeds says still belongs to RG Properties. Then there's Michelle, who's been paying rent on this house to one of Rita and Richard's victims, who claims he now owns the house she lives in.
There was a letter on my door. The letter was from a man named Richard Goslin stating that he doesn't know who I'm renting the property from, but he's the actual owner of the house, and I am illegally renting it from someone.
Is he interviewing her tits? What's going on with the microphone?
While these people are spooked, the people who lived in this house are gone. According to neighbors, Richard threw this family out because they wouldn't pay him. What's Richard Goslin got to say about all this? Let's find out.
Hey, can I ask you about these houses you're renting?
Oh man, IRL. See, I miss when Alex Jones's content was like primarily him doing the on the street stuff. That's my favorite kind of shit.
Now, you fill me in on these houses?
Get that out of my face before I shove it up your.
Come on, Richard, fill me in on that.
Hey, I'm all done
You
with that.
own these houses?
No.
Well, you're collecting rent from people. Yeah, you are. I talked to me. You got that van from that family
Come on, yeah, you are. Come on.
the other day. Do you own these houses? Have you paid back any of the restitution? Come on, Richard.
Out of here, you.
Give me your side of the story. What's your side of the
I
story?
don't have a story. I'm done with it.
Well, you owe $1.8 million in restitution, don't you?
That's none of your damn business.
Well, it's the court papers.
You get out of here. I wish somebody would shoot you, dumb.
What an absolute, what an absolute, like, compliment it would be to him as a reporter for this guy to be this pissed off. Like, you just know that, like, there's such a just utter hatred from this guy toward this reporter, and it's so fucking Kino.
Welcome back, Richard. Welcome back to the Hall of Shame. The past few years have been confusing for the people who live in these houses. They don't really know who owns them. Rita and Richard, their landlords, disappeared and were on wanted posters. Then they both went to jail. Rita Goslin is still in prison. Some of the people I spoke to say they've tried to buy the houses, but were told for one reason or another they couldn't. And remember, there's still a lot of victims who lost all their money in the Ponzi scheme. I've contacted the Attorney General's office. They tell me they're going to get to the bottom of this.
Your claims and your warrants are unjustified. You're coming into my face. You're invading.
I'm not in your face.
No,
Yo, yo, yo! Say hello to Poetics.
what you're doing right now is you're doing.
Oh my God. Is he confronting like a speakeasy type rapper?
Stuff, bro. And what I'm trying to tell you is very, very simple.
I work for TV, man.
Okay, that's
You
good
know?
for you. And guess what? I work for artists in a legit way.
Poetics bills himself as a big-time rapper who claims he can take his experience in the music biz and turn your rhymes into dollar signs.
He promised to book me shows. He was supposed to manage me.
So you gave him $800?
Mm-hmm.
But these artists say Poetics is nothing but a hip-hop hustler who signed them and promised them big shows that never happened.
What do you think he is?
A scam artist. Trying to get money.
Well, how about the first event that I do that you come out to with your camera crew? How about that?
I got a feeling I'm going to be waiting a long time for that gig.
Yeah, I'll be out at that show. I got a feeling I'll be waiting a long time.
Lil Franch is a popular Metro Detroit rapper who's managed on his own to get more than 50,000 Twitter followers and 28,000 Facebook fans. Seeing his popularity, he was contacted by Will Horvath, a.k.a. Poetics, and his female assistant.
Will and Jamie found me.
In January, Lil
Franch.
Franch met with Poetics at the City Edge Bar in Taylor.
He said that he owned it.
Not only did Poetics say he owned the bar, he also owned Extreme Entertainment. Lil Franch paid Horvath, Poetics, $800 and signed a contract. The contract states, Extreme Entertainment and William Horvath agree to do the following under the conditions of this agreement for 1 year. Book Lil Franch for the purpose of
Lil
musical
Franch.
performance within the state of Michigan for the term of 1 year at a minimum of 10 events to be held at 700 plus capacity venue.
When I signed with Will, Poet X, he was like, I don't want none of my artists performing for anybody except me.
So Lil Franch ceased playing other gigs, waiting for the 10 big shows Poetics promised. Gigs that never happened. So who is Poetics? He claims to be a big rap recording artist.
Well, and like he's literally putting himself out there. Like he's going and confronting these people in person, like in face to face in real life, like, and doing all of the like legwork to get the story. Like it's really impressive. And and on top of that, it's like it's super entertaining too.
artist since the 90s. In his interview with him on SoundClick, he says, when I was younger, signed with a major after doing a show with Tupac. I signed a bogus-ass contract. On his personal page, it says, Poetics is the name. I've been blessing the mic since age 16. Papadou's been there, done that. I have the talent, will, and determination to do what I was put on this earth by God to do. Make great music. And nobody on this earth will stop me. I'm not stopping you. Let's play some of that great music. Here I go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he could. Like, there's nothing, even if he had security, which I don't know if he does, but even if he did, like, they're not close to him. If there are any, like, something could definitely happen to him. To me, that's what makes the content so good. He's willing to, like, put himself out there to, you know, to bring these stories.
Don't need no pad or a pen, cause I'm so damn salty about these rappers and trends.
Well, now that we know this guy is good, let's get back to our story.
He was gonna manage me, book me shows, you know, the stuff that I need at the moment. And he did none of that but take my money.
Lyrical Lips is also a Detroit rapper. She too was contacted.
Oh my gosh. King TL, have you ever hooked up with a chick that had lyrical lips?
By Poetics and met him at his bar in Taylor and signed a deal. She paid him $360. She, like Little Franch, has the receipts. And like Little Franch, she was promised 10 700-plus venue gigs. She got none.
I was number 8 on the charts for Detroit hip-hop before he came along. I ended up number 239.
The only gig Lips and Lil Franch did for Will Horvath was a non-paying small bar show on St. Patrick's Day.
He charged a $5 cover fee for anyone that came into the bar. Even the artists that were performing had to pay that $5 to get in.
I was going to say, I noticed that he's still doing stuff.
Then they say Poet X disappeared. But I found him. Poet X in the house. His mom's house. He lives with his mom at an apartment complex.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
In Allen Park.
On this contract here, it says you're gonna have 10
I meant like her her more feminine lips.
shows at a 700-plus capacity venue.
Yeah, but I had personal problems, and they all knew about that.
They say they didn't.
He changed his number, and I haven't heard from him since.
Why are they coming to me and telling me that you ripped them off?
I have no idea, but I'll be honest with you. This stuff's all going to be resolved within the next, probably 30 to 60 days.
30 to 60 days? They've already waited since January. Poetics blames any miscommunication on his former assistant, Jamie.
I tried to get a hold of her to let her know via Facebook.
That happens in some entertainment fields where like wrestlers can get on the card if they sell 20 tickets.
Booking through some other people to please get a hold of me on a different telephone number that I had because my phone had gotten smashed, and Facebook.
No, listen, man. I was insulted by XP and I smashed my phone, man. I didn't change my number. I just don't have my telephone. I'm waiting on the $50.
When I tried to contact Facebook to tell them, I needed the password to get into my computer, they told me that they couldn't give it to me, that I had to show them a photo ID.
Whatever that means, here's what his former assistant Jamie says.
I've never once booked a show for these artists. They kept going like, where's he at? Where's he at? It's always, I gotta do this today, I gotta do that. Oh, we're waiting on Ticketmaster, we're waiting on so-and-so. There's always an excuse not to do a show.
And it appears Poetics has signed artists and blown off shows before. I show him a lawsuit by a guy named Phil.
Who's this guy? Philip Mooney. Philip Mooney, he sued you a few years ago, says he's losing income from lost shows performance.
Yeah, the Hood OPC Don. Yeah, that's a pretty fair assessment.
Breach of contract. So you did this to...
He was probably a breached artist, yeah. It doesn't happen. I mean, there are other artists that it's happened to.
Well, who are you that you can just take money from people and then drop them?
I don't.
I mean, you act like, I'm Poetics, I'm some kind of big shot.
Well, yeah, and I am.
Well, Mr. Big Shot, let's see what Philip Mooney has to say. Phil played in a band in 2009. Horvath signed him to a contract like Lil Franch's and Lips.
He stopped booking us. I sued him.
And?
I won.
He sued you and won. You didn't show up to court.
He did not sue me and win. Okay, the bottom line was...
Dude, I'm looking at it. Poetics says he still wants to represent Lil Franch, but Lyrical Lips breached her contract, and he's not paying her back, even though he signed this paper in June saying he was paying her back.
When's the next time you got a show going?
Oh, I don't have anything booked right now. Like I said, I just got everything.
I got 2 contracts from 2...
I'm trying to follow this Armand and King thing. Oh, you need a persona to show society, and a persona that has the knowledge that you hide away. Yeah, that's probably true. What do they call that? Like a daemon or something like that? Like the idea that I think in modern you would come up with like your YouTuber name or whatever, and like in the past when art was different, like I don't know. I'd have to look it up. There's like this whole daemon thing of having this alter persona absorb the criticism that your art generates, but keeping it separate from your like true self or whatever. But I don't really get it. But I heard a really boring lecture about it one time at a film festival.
Different people that said you were going to book them to 10 shows in the next year for 700 people. Well, regardless, you sign the contracts, and you don't have any shows, and you didn't have any shows, and you don't have any shows coming up.
I
will.
will.
So it sounds like you're in breach of contract.
No.
When's the last show you did?
Probably 2008, 2009, before I wound up getting sick and buying my bar.
Oh, yeah, the bar he owned.
He acted like he owned it, but he didn't own it. And he was taking people's money.
You're the owner, right?
I'm the owner.
And you've owned it for what, 17 years?
17 years.
Meet Mark Brown. According to state records, City Edge is his bar. Mark says he threw Poet X, who was managing the place, out.
I'm still trying to figure out who the heck you are.
So he was inviting people to the bar and then telling them like, this is my bar, you know, to get them to, they'd be like, oh, this guy owns a bar, and then it's not even, he was the manager, but then he got fired.
I'm an artist developer. I've been developing artists since 2001.
Who have you developed?
I've worked with plenty of artists and getting them the numbers that they need to substantiate their claims of buzzworthiness from a local to
so I can contact. Give me a name, dude. Give me a name of somebody. Name somebody.
Local artists?
Yeah.
The only local artist that ever did.
I've helped so many artists. He said, well, name one. What do you mean, name one local artist?
Anything that went big,
Tell us one channel you have, OPC Don, that's successful. Just one, show us one channel. Oh, we'll show you one channel? Well, I have many channels. I mean, if the Thorpes could see my bank account, they'd know I was going to win the gold coin.
But verifiable numbers came from me and 2 other sources. And that artist was,
who?
The artist is no longer here. Okay, but the bottom line is that he did what he had to do, and unfortunately his life was taken. He's perished. He's passed away. I helped him to get his.
You know, dude, that just seems.
Hey, listen, I really helped one guy, but he died.
Really convenient.
It's not.
Poetics, more like pathetics. You're in.
There's no feud with OPC Don.
The Hall of Shame.
He knows I'm right. And as Savvy Guy would tell you, arguing with people who know they're wrong is foolish.
Getting your car repaired can be expensive and inconvenient. You may have to bum rides for a couple of days while your car's in the shop.
That is unless you go to one Oakland County repair shop. Oh, it will still be expensive, but your car won't be ready. Problem solver Robocheck is going to put a wrench in this repairman's game with his...
Okay, we've kind of had a discussion about this. Do we think the mechanic in this story is going to be an alcoholic?
Shame investigation.
Yo, Monica, this business had a really good reputation. The reviews online were all positive. What customers didn't know was the original owner closed up and a new owner took over. And this new mechanic is a real tool.
Wow.
I'm going to take you on a tiger hunt.
Dude, I bet he could have done a better diss track than that guy, for sure.
There is nothing in there. This guy is bailed out. Tiger's his name. Fixing foreign cars is
Yo, Post Malone, is this like an undercover boss or what?
supposed to be his game.
At that point, he had my car with the engine out, and I had nothing to do with the car. Was taken hostage for all intents and purposes.
This cranky cat named Tiger sure worked slow.
I was told it would take...
This guy is so good. This cranky cat named Tiger. Beautiful.
About 2 days.
2 days? For 2 years.
I gave it to German Motor Works on June 1st.
What year?
2018. Catching Tiger, who seems to move from place to place to place, is a real cat and mouse game.
So are you opening another shop?
No.
You're not?
No.
So where are you working out of now?
I'm not working right now.
His name may be Tiger, but he's a lion. This is Richard. Richard needed repairs on his BMW. He went to German Motor Works on Dixie Highway in Waterford. When did you take it in?
October of 2018.
And you don't have the car?
I went to the German Motor Works on the Dixie Highway.
Car now?
I don't have the car. I have no idea even where it is.
Richard says Tiger, the shop's owner, would fix one thing and charge Richard, then add another thing that needed to be fixed before he could take the car, and on until Richard had coughed up close to $6 grand and never got the car back. After a zillion promises from Tiger, Richard finally sued.
Yeah, I have won the court case, but I have not been able to collect on it because I don't even know where his business is right now.
Yeah, the signs are still up here, but Tiger and his team are gone.
I feel embarrassed to even give the true story because it sounds like I'm just, some easy mark.
Don't be.
That's what they count on, guys. That's what people like Tiger count on, is that you'll let your pride overtake your want for that $6,000. That because you'll feel like you're embarrassed or you got tricked or whatever, that like, almost like you deserve to lose the money instead of like standing up for fighting back or putting people into a hall of shame over their actions.
Be embarrassed because Tiger's had this guy's car even longer. Matthew took his Audi A5 to German Motor Works to repair a broken timing chain. He paid Tiger $4 grand and picked up his supposedly repaired car.
But there I am the next day on the side of the road.
Yeah, it was still broken. He had it towed to Tiger.
Since that day, I have not driven the car. I have not heard the car run. I've seen it. He's had it in his possession the whole time.
This was Matthew's only set of wheels, and he has car payments on the Audi.
So I got $400 a month going out every month for a vehicle that I don't use or have. And I had to go buy another vehicle.
Now he's got 2 car payments and 2 insurance payments.
It makes me sick.
How much money did you give him all together?
$1,400.
And your car's still not fixed?
No.
Yeah, at least Andrea has her car back. That's it, broken down and covered with snow in her driveway.
German luxury.
Last summer, Andrea had transmission problems, so she took the car to the Dixie Highway shop. A few days later, Tiger told her the car was fixed. She paid Tiger, but her car sure wasn't purring like a kitten.
I pulled out of the shop and the car wasn't shifting immediately.
She took it back to the shop, and it took months before she got it back. In that time, German Motor Works had moved to a different location in Clarkston. Andrea went there and picked up her supposedly fixed bug.
It was slipping in and out of gears, and it was scary to drive.
She took the car back to the shop where it sat until December. She finally got her car back, but it's still busted. She filed a complaint with the Better Business Bureau, a complaint Tiger never responded to. But that ain't nothing. Tiger's had problems for a long time. Real name, Nemer Barakat. He pled guilty to licensing and record-keeping violations when he was running a shop in Wayne County.
This dude is something else, man.
Cars without a license. He's been sued and lost a few times, and just last month, according to the Secretary of State, German Motor Works.
Dude, and I also, I genuinely get the feeling that this guy is only interested genuinely in going after people that have, just crossed line after line. I don't think this guy... I mean, it might seem petty because of his attitude, but I don't think he would go after people who had just done minor things wrong or that he he didn't like or whatever. But I do like that whenever he does have somebody who keeps fucking people over, that he's just relentless about it.
Was fined $2,500 after a Bureau of Regulatory Services complaint investigation found they charged for repairs not performed, violated mechanic certification requirements, failed to reveal material fact to a customer, and had improper invoices. The business is on probation with the state right now. And when I put Tiger's real name into a Google search, up comes his mugshot on the Michigan Department of Corrections website.
Dude.
He pled guilty in December of 2017 to purchasing a gun without a license. And to be honest, that photo was all I have to go on, because even though he told Matthew and Richard their cars were still being worked on at German Motor Works in Clarkston, when I get there, there's a for lease sign out front.
Oh my
There's
God.
no vehicles in here, so I don't know where these guys' cars are. But I figure a leopard doesn't change its spots, and neither will Tiger. After a tip or two, we spot what looks like some fancy foreign cars being worked on out of this old boat business on Telegraph Road. The place is locked up tight, but there's guys and cars going in and out. And at quitting time, my cameraman zooms in.
Oh my gosh,
I think
this
that
is
guy in
amazing.
the red coat could be him, with the red second guy there.
Middle guy?
Yeah.
We got it. We got Tiger.
I sent a freeze frame to our victims, and they confirmed I got a tiger by the tail. The next day, Nemr Barakat, a.k.a. Tiger, pulls a BMW out of the garage and takes off down Telegraph. And so do we. And there's the cat under the hood at a scrapyard on 8 Mile.
Let's go.
How you doing? Rob Walchek from Fox 2. What happened to your shop up there in Clarkston?
Didn't work out.
Didn't work out, so where are you at now?
I'm not working.
Oh yeah, he's not working. He just must wear his German Motorworks cap and shirt and look under car hoods for fun.
So Richard Cassell, he got his BMW 5?
We're fixing it.
Well, what's taking so long?
It was just a hell
What's
of a
taking
job, that's
so
all.
damn long?
I know, but you've had the cars for like a year and a half, each of those cars.
It hasn't been a year and a half.
Oh, I think it has.
It hasn't.
I got the receipts here. You want me to look at the dates? You sure you want me to do that? Because I got them.
I pull out Richard's Discovery card payments to German Motorworks.
October of 2018, he gave you $1,200, then he gave you $15, then he gave you $13, then he gave you $2,000, $6,000. He gave you more than a year ago, and
his motor turned out to be bad. That was a holdup, so we're fixing it for him.
Next up, I tell him Andrea says her VW is worse than when she brought it to him.
I feel like this program has like all of the toxicity that I enjoy, like the snarkiness and the confrontationalism, but it's like it's in an ethical and wholesome package of like only being directed at like the worst people in these communities.
Ended up buying another car because she got tired of Ubering to work.
I performed the work on the car, so if she had to buy a new car, it's not my responsibility if she had to buy a new car.
well, how long do you think these jobs should take?
They're more complex kind of jobs. Foreign cars.
Do you have the skills to do it?
Yes, I do.
Next up, Matt, who's been fighting with Tiger over his Audi since June of 2018.
Matthew said he was not very nice to you. Do you blame him for being mad?
No.
So why do you keep on promising these guys are going to get their cars and they don't get them?
They'll get them very soon.
Aw, poor Tiger. He leaves looking sad. But I guess I motivated him. That was last week. This week, Tiger delivers Matthew's car.
So how long has it been?
Today is day 633 from the day I met Tiger and gave him my car. He said he didn't have to.
633 days? What?
Come to this, and I said, I think it did have to come to this. I said, there was no other dealing with him other than, getting you involved.
Yeah, he would have never got it done.
No.
Yep.
And that's what I told him. I said, if it wasn't for Rob, there's no way you're gonna just all of a sudden in a week turn my car around when it's been this long.
I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a criminal.
Boo,
Tiger's no fan of mine, but his driver sure seems to be.
Thanks, Rob. Keep up the good work, man.
All right.
Love you, man.
All right, see you later.
Man, that's gonna be a long.
The guy driving the car, the guy driving the Uber said he loved the guy.
Long ride home. Now that's how you tame a tiger. You're in the Hall of Shame.
Yes.
Looks like I've got a tiger by the tail.
Tiger told me Richard, the guy with the BMW, will be getting his car later this week. I sure hope so. Remember, Richard brought his car in for repairs in 2018. This guy advertises on the internet and in the phone book under a few different names, but it's always Mike the TV guy who comes to your house. Well, Mike, I'm a TV guy too, and it's time for your broadcast premiere.
Oh my God. Dude, this guy is so good. We've got to get him when we reboot Heroes of Wrestling. I need this guy. We have to book this guy.
Say hi to
This is our Mean Gene for sure.
Mike, the TV repair guy.
You get that camera out of my face before I break it.
Mike will come to your home to pick up your TV. Problem is, Mike doesn't seem to bring the TV back. He doesn't have his TV, and he doesn't have his $100.
He's confronting him at McDonald's. Oh my God, this is fantastic.
Well,
wait
we
a
had
minute,
our
wait a minute.
producer call you.
Wait a minute. What about my service call? Do you work for free?
So get ready. tune in.
How much do you make a year?
What does that got to do with
How much
you
is it?
ripping people
Boy,
off?
how much do you make a year?
Oh,
huh?
you're going to call me racial things now? And get ready to be turned off by Mike.
You know who you're playing with, Miss.
Okay, who am I playing with?
You're going to find out.
Philip is stuck watching an old analog TV. How come?
Man, I just think that would be it's such an amazing thing to do, to like track these near to wells down for these ethically toxic experiences.
He went online and found a TV repairman that said he'd come out to his house and fix his nice 42-inch flat screen.
He took the TV, he left. That was June 1st.
Mike, the TV repairman, told Philip the set needed a new T-Com board. Total repair cost $142. He asked for a $100 deposit, wrote out this receipt, and put Philip's TV in the trunk of his car. After months of missing his HD TV, Philip finally called Mike and was told the part hadn't come in yet.
I'm wondering where he ordered this part from. It takes 2.5 months to get to you.
Phil lived through another month of analog TV.
I try to call him back, but he doesn't answer the phone. So I go out to my brother-in-law's and I call him from there. Different number, he picks right up.
Mike, the TV man, has sad news.
I'm out of town right now. My brother passed, and I'm out of town at his funeral.
Oh my gosh. So he told him he couldn't get the TV ready because he was out of town. His brother passed. He had to wash his hair. He had to babysit.
Philip's an understanding guy, so he doesn't bother Mike for yet another month.
I call him from a different number again. He picks up and he tells me the same story he told me the first time. Oh, my brother just passed, and I'm out of town.
What a terrible excuse to lay off on somebody, especially multiple times over a TV being like slow to be repaired.
His funeral. And I'm wondering to myself, how many brothers do you have that die once a month?
Philip contacted the problem solvers. We did what we usually do for a seemingly simple consumer problem. I had my producer call Mike, see if they could work things out over the phone. Mike told my producer he was...
Yeah, see, he's not just like cold showing up. Like they're calling and being like, hey, what's your side of what's going on here? And I'm sure if it's even like mildly debatable, they probably don't move forward with the episode. There's probably not a story there.
He was at his brother's funeral, but when he got back to town, he'd call Philip and get him back his TV.
I have not ever received a call from him since he came and got the television and took my money.
So I took a drive out to the address on the receipt of Mike's TV shop, but guess what? That address doesn't exist. Next stop, the 37th District Courthouse in Warren. They know who Mike the TV man is.
In Warren?
Told me people have been filing cases against him for years. Real name, Michael Schultz of Centerline. He ran a TV repair business for decades called AA1, but he's got AA100 problems now, like bankruptcies, a whole bunch of bankruptcies. He's got an F rating with the Better Business Bureau. He's also got a $25,000 judgment for not paying for his ads. And he's got other judgments from customers who pretty much say the same thing. They called Mike and he took a deposit and disappeared. Just like he did when I set him up with an undercover cameraman and a broken TV.
I'd have to take it with me, yeah.
Or what about, you have a shop?
Yeah, I have a shop.
Where your shop located?
10 in Van Dyke.
On the receipt he gives to my undercover customer.
Now we're talking hidden camera, like setup, sting operations.
Mike writes the same bogus address for his shop that he wrote on Philip's receipt. We pay Mike a $75 deposit, and off he goes with our TV.
Nice doing business with you.
Same here. I'll take care of it for you, okay?
Mike may show up to collect your TV and deposit money, but he doesn't seem too good at showing up for court. Here are some letters Mike wrote to a judge to get out of court claiming family emergencies when people have sued him, including this one from 2008. His reason for missing court? My brother suddenly passed away on Sunday, and I have to leave for the funeral. Hey, that's exactly what he told Philip twice this summer, and my producer this fall. Hey, Mike. How you doing? Rob Walchick from Fox 2. Don't touch that dial. Here comes Mike now.
Let's
talk
go.
TV, man. We're a couple TV guys. I need to ask you some questions. I got a guy named Philip that you were supposed to fix his TV. And
Philip who?
Philip Boyd?
Yeah, we're waiting to get a part for his set. Yeah. I'm gonna bring his set back to him next week. And give me his $100 back.
I don't know, man. He's been waiting a long time. My producer called you like 2 months ago.
I told him it wouldn't be till mid-December before I could bring it back. I'm gonna bring it back next week.
He didn't tell that to my producer. He said he was at a funeral, and when he got back, he'd contact Philip, which he never did.
Mike, I know you've been in the business for a super long time. Look at all these lawsuits.
And I know
and
about
stuff you
Channel
got.
2 for a super long time, and I know about you for a super long time.
Yeah, well, tell me about me. What do you know about me? That I'm trying to get to the truth here?
No,
that I busted you? I'm busting you because you ripped this guy Philip off? And
I'm bringing his TV back. I'm going to bring his TV back, like I said, next week. And if I don't, then you can contact me.
I'm contacting you right now. These are Better Business Bureau complaints.
You know about the Better Business Bureau? They're being sued right now. In 13 states, they're a fraud, is what they are.
Okay, well, these complaints aren't fraud because I've talked to them.
Yeah.
Mike doesn't take responsibility for anything. Listen to this.
You're a guy who's just been ripping people off for a long time.
Oh, and you haven't, huh?
Who have I ripped off?
And you haven't,
Who
right?
have I ever ripped off? Who have I ever ripped off?
How much you make a year?
What's that got to do with anything?
How much do you make a year? How much do you make a year?
What does that got to do with
how much
you
is
ripping
it?
people
you boy,
off?
How much do you make a year?
Oh, you're going to call me racial things now?
Yeah, how much do you make a year?
What does that got to do with anything?
Then what are you putting your nose in my business for?
I'm putting my nose into people's business. They called me and said you ripped them off.
You know how many people ripped me off?
I don't care.
I'm done with Mike, but I guess he's not done with us.
You get that camera out of my face before I break it.
Nah, you're not going to do that.
I'm not?
You're not going to do that.
Don't bet on it.
Man, wow. Perfect thing to say from both a literal standpoint and an entertainment standpoint. I'm going to knock it out of your hand. I don't think so. You're not going to do that.
Okay, whatever.
Don't bet on it.
Mike's going to hurl one more anti-Semitic slur at me.
No.
Well, make that 2 anti-Semitic slurs. And he's gone. Mike, you got a lot of issues. Maybe you could get some TV therapy in the Hall of Shame. Mike told me he was going to bring Philip his TV set this week and give him back his money. But I talked to Philip and he says he hasn't heard from this guy ever. But I've heard from more of Mike's unhappy customers just since we started promoting this story. I thought he was just a lousy landscaper, but the
Okay, let's watch one more and then we'll check in with Savvy Guy.
more I dug in, the dirtier this guy looked. And it's certainly not because he completed anybody's jobs.
When we go through this thing, I'm literally gonna blow your mind.
Okay, all right, I'm ready to have my mind blown.
Brother, I'm ready to.
Say hi to Joe Vella.
I've been waiting to have a voice. I need to have a voice.
Well, you got a voice right now.
I hear you, sir. I just don't know what I can and can't say.
Joe is a delightful defendant. This light-hearted landscaper's got a ton of problems. Jovial Joe's got angry customers.
He's just a horrible, horrible person.
Joe's got giant judgments, felony criminal charges. He claims he's broke. It appears the guy might have filed for bankruptcy. What do you think of that?
Sucks.
Joe's facing foreclosure and even claims he's been beat up. But Joe's still smiling.
We gotta get into this, man. We gotta sit down and do this together.
Okay, all right, Joe.
It's gonna be amazing, brother.
Get ready for the story of happy-go-lucky landscaper Joe, a big fan.
Hey, you're just as famous as he is, sir. It was good seeing you guys.
All right.
Talk soon. Thank you, Rob.
Good luck in there. That is a weird dude. This is Reggie. Back in April, I interviewed him about a company he hired to tear out this patio at his Canton home and build him a new one. The company was EMS. The guy in
Why did he choose to play the Mary Jane song when the black guy was on camera?
charge, Joe Vella.
He came out in a company vehicle, so everything just seemed legit.
Reggie paid Joe several $1,000s as a down payment in the late summer of 2020. On September 9th, Joe texted and said, "Your house next. We're almost finished."
Your house next.
Reggie replies, "I can't wait." Oh, yes, he could wait. And he did wait. On October 27th, Reggie texted.
I like to read any text. I don't know if you guys listen to the Cornet podcast, but his co-host Brian Last, he's really entertaining reading things. He does like a really funny, like, really plays up all the, like, when he's reading like Chris Jericho like tweets and shit like that.
Good afternoon, Joe. I'm sure you're aware of the inaccurate time frames you have been giving us regarding the completion of our project. Joe responds, hey, Reggie, I'll have your landscaping done and your concrete done in the next 2 weeks. Not. In May of
Weather been a nightmare for us.
2021, Reggie sued.
I won a judgment in the amount of $5,168.38. Needless to say, he didn't pay me, or else you wouldn't be here right now.
He was supposed to tear down the deck and build a patio.
Jerry gave EMS a $4,000 down payment, but never got a thing from Joe, so he sued.
He never showed up. I won the judgment automatically. But now the hard part's getting your money back.
It gets worse.
I said, Joe, you owe me $67,000. Where's my money?
Listen, Joe, you can push these Americans around, but you're not going to do that to me, Pally.
Introduce you to Mike.
I think he's the ultimate con man.
Yet another letdown landscaping victim. Let me show you some of the weird stuff that happened when I tried to track down Joe. He was hard to locate, but we finally found him at this house in Howell. That's his white truck, and we saw it leave one day to go to a liquor store. But Joe's not in the truck.
I'm his friend, David.
You're his friend, David? Do you know where Joe is?
No, I don't, sir.
I guess David is just a dude. Is he at his house right now?
I have no idea. I've not been there.
You haven't been to his house?
No.
That's a lie. So we head over to Joe's. Is your dad here?
It's not illegal to knock on a door. Rob Walchek going right for it.
Will you tell your dad to come?
Let's hope that, oh my God, will you tell your dad to come out? Whoa, man, wow.
Out. For the next 2 hours, my cameraman and I wait in 85-degree July heat for Joe to come out.
Here comes his buddy.
Joe's truck returns.
Hey, David, will you do me a favor? Will you tell Joe to come out and talk to me?
Okay.
He goes in to talk to Joe, then comes out. What's he say?
Did he give you a call?
What's that?
He said he'd give you a call.
He give me a call? Well, why is he going to give me a call? Why doesn't he just come out and talk to me, man?
I don't know.
In to talk to Joe again, and out. Back in, and back out.
Okay, so what's he saying now?
He's not.
Finally, Joe agrees to meet us the next day at a church picnic area in Howell.
So you're going to deliver him tomorrow, 3:30.
The next day, we wait and wait, but we get Velen. He's a no-show. The next day, Joe texts me. Hi, Rob. Just wanted to update you. My father had a heart attack. Ah, poor Joe. I'll give the guy some time. In the meantime, I talked to Mike.
He comes there with full intentions
What's up,
of
Robot
ripping
Glock?
you off. And I think that makes him a special kind of individual.
Mike hired Joe to build a seawall and deck on the water behind his home. How much money did you ultimately give him?
Just shy of 67,000.
He says Joe used a backhoe to move a bunch of dirt around, but never really accomplished anything except digging a hole.
All in all, it probably took about 5 or 6 weeks till we started to realize that there was a real scam going on here.
Mike finally confronted Joe.
He basically left and didn't come back.
But it gets even worse. Look at all these giant checks a company called Prestige Freight wrote out to Joe's company. According to their lawsuit, this trucking company paid Joe's business almost $400,000 to fix up one of their yards. The lawsuit says Joe kept putting the work off for 6 months. Then, one day in June 2021, defendants appeared on the work site and moved some dirt and dumped several trucks of gravel on the site. After that day in June 2021, no other work or services have been performed by the defendants. Prestige Freight sued for fraud. They wanted to...
Hey, Avery, so all he did was show up and move some dirt around and then dump some gravel, and then he fucking ghosted?
Default judgment for $1,139,000.
Like, this is beyond a scam. A scam to me is like maybe they charged, like, you know, extra for something or lied to him about something to get a little bit more money. This is like way beyond a scam to me. Like, these people are like fucking with people's houses, fucking with $67,000, like, and then your yard's all fucked up and doing it to like multiple people. That's crazy.
Against Joe and his business partner wife, Catherine. Catherine is listed as the...
I'm getting hot seeing all these scammers.
A resident agent for the company, even though Joe does all the talking. And you already know he's good at that.
I want to get into it.
Did you see that he liked his own post?
Rob, I do. Rob, this is a great
I don't
show.
think you want to get...
Are you kidding me? This is the best platform to get into it.
Joe and his wife filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy late last year. Poor Joe broken hurt. Yeah, take a look at this video. Maybe Joe injured himself trying to
I mean, there are people who take out like equity loans and shit and like leverage their house, and then if they use that money to pay one of these contractors like this dipshit, then you could end up like potentially like losing your house because by the time you got through the legal system, and like we've seen, even when you beat them, like that you never get the money.
finish those landscaping jobs, fell off a backhoe, fell in a hole installing a sprinkler system. Nope, but he might have been making it rain. Joe got hurt at a strip club. According to Joe's lawsuit against BT's executive club, Joe got roughed up by a bouncer and...
Oh my God, now he's trying to run a personal injury scam on a strip club. Come on, bro.
He's suing. On or around April 29th, 2022, defendant John Doe, the bouncer, used unnecessary, unprovoked, and excessive force on plaintiff while he was a patron at BT's.
I knew I didn't like this guy. He's trying to take down a strip club. Get the fuck out, pal. You're done.
During normal business hours.
It's over for you.
And can a guy who filed for bankruptcy and is out on bond have a nice day at the strip club?
Oh, yeah, I remember that from the Ric Flair meltdown. Go get the Egyptian.
Joe's on bond because in December, Joe was charged criminally in Livingston County with 3 counts of felony non-sufficient checks and 1 count of taking more than $50,000 under false pretenses. And it's before a court date I finally catch up to Joe.
Great story. I'd love to tell it. I really would, Rob.
Well, let's hear it. Joe says he can't talk until his lawyer gets here. Here's his lawyer. But Joe swears he's got a great story to tell. You took in so much money.
Here's his lawyer.
What did you do with the money?
Okay. I'd love to go over that as well, Rob.
I start mentioning some of his victims. They're not even related to this court case. Certainly Joe could talk about them. The first guy I talked to was a guy named Reggie. Do you remember him?
No, sir.
In Canton? But Joe doesn't remember all the people he's victimized. Do you remember Mike the...
Sorry, he doesn't remember all the people he's victimized.
Aussie guy?
I don't know what that means.
Mike, he's an Australian guy. I talked to him, too.
Great.
He says, basically, you're a con artist who took his money.
Sure.
And what do you say?
I say that's absolutely...
Listen, I'd love to broach that topic with you, but first we'd have to figure, what is fraud? Do you have to knowingly go into something knowing you're not going to deliver to constitute fraud? Or is it really fraud if you go into it with the best of intentions, but things go awry? Are we really talking fraud then? What is fraud really, Rob Walchuk?
Absolutely 100% not true, and I can prove it.
Well, prove it. Hey, I've given Joe lots of chances to talk. Remember how he stood me up a few months ago? We waited for you at the park that day, and you didn't show up.
Yeah.
And you said that your dad had a heart attack and all that.
I never said that to you, sir.
Joe, I have the text.
I watched every single video of yours, right?
Unbelievable.
I watched them all. I get it. It's shock and awe value. But I think there's another value. And I think that value is when you have a case like this, at the end of it, you say they're in the hall of shame. I think there's an opportunity here for maybe somebody who's been accused of things to make things, to show their side of the story.
Okay.
As you said, you would always hear my side of the story.
All right, Joe. Well, I'm ready. That's why I'm standing here with a microphone and a cameraman.
I hear you.
His lawyer, William Amadeo, shows up.
He's not going to talk today. Come on, let's go to court.
All right.
Okay.
Boo.
All right, Joe.
Till the end. Hang tight to the end.
After court, Joe still won't tell me this great story. He's just dying to get off his chest.
I can't talk about it, okay? We'll do it right after.
Are people going to get their money back?
Joe, get in the car.
Okay. 30 days. 30 days, Rob. I'll meet you here.
Okay. You seem like you're a little more agitated now, Joe.
Well, you're following him as he's leaving court, Rob.
Yeah, that's my job. Thank you very much. Joe, you're in the Hall of Shame.
Amazing. All right, well, we'll definitely have to do another consumer protection Watchdogs episode, but hopefully you liked it. I thought they were both really entertaining, different perspectives, but like similar vibe. All right, I wanted to watch this. I want to watch this Savvy Guy video. Hang on. All right. Let's see. Oh, wait, I need to go down into videos. Tell me what you think about this one.
What's going on, guys? Back at you guys with another presentation. In this presentation, I want to talk to you guys about I want to talk to you guys in this presentation about how women are only good to men that they like. Women are only good to men that they like. That's one thing I had to realize. Women are not going to be good to a man that doesn't have what they want. Pretty much what I'm going to talk about in this presentation, guys, is that women are only good to men that have what they want. So as a man, if you do not have what women want, looks, money, status, they're not going to be good to you. The whole concept of a good woman is a lie, guys. There is no such thing as a good woman. Good women do not exist. Women are the nature of a woman is not good.
I wish someone had told me in my 20s, because I've spent my whole life looking for something that don't even exist.
Been lied to, guys, and I understand why I never found a good woman, because what I've been looking for and searching for my whole life didn't exist. I've been looking for something that's not even real. When you spend your whole life from the time you're an adolescent all the way into your adult life looking for something that don't exist.
What do you think about this? What do you think about? Do you think he's on the toilet? I'm trying to figure out where he is. Is he just like, is he at work and he's like taking a minute to make a video like on his break or something? He seems like super distracted, like super like he's freezing up a lot. He's glitching a lot. Like, is he trying to like, is he at work trying to like kind of sneak in a video, or I don't know what's going on here.
I've been looking for something that ain't even real. I've been looking for something that's not even, it doesn't exist. It's like looking for Santa Claus or looking for the Easter Bunny. It doesn't exist. In my whole life, I've been looking for things that just don't exist. It's not real.
Whoops.
And
by the way, every time I go to Target, I always think about doing a Savvy Guy video when I leave. One of these days, I'm going to actually do it.
If you spending time looking for things that are not real, if you spending time looking for things that don't exist, of course you're going to be disappointed. Women are only good to men that have what they want. That's what I had to come to terms and understand. As a man, if you don't have what women want, they're not going to be good to you. They're going to be the devil to you. And that's just the truth.
What if he is at Olive Garden, but he had a fight with his mom, and so that's why he's in the bathroom recording this video about how there are no good women?
Women are going to be mean. They're going to be dismissive. Women are just not going to be good to you if you do not have what they want. Some guys just got to understand that if you don't have what women want, women are never going to be good to you. And I always wanted to spend my whole life, I always wanted to believe that women,
like, and that's not me shading Savvy Guy. Like, he's pretty open about it. That you hear it in a lot of his videos that he does have pretty frequent like disagreements with his mom.
Are these good-hearted people, in that they will love you for who you are, and they will love you because you have good character and you have good morals and you have good principles. Having good morals and having good principles, that don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing. That's what I had to understand. Having morals, having these good principles just don't exist. Just it doesn't matter. I messed up my words. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but having good morals and principles don't mean nothing. Because a lot of these women, they don't have good.
Somebody's in HR and they're like, listen, I don't exactly know what to say, but I went into the bathroom and someone was in there talking about how there are no godly women and that women are demonic.
They don't have good morals and principles themselves. A lot of women, they don't have good morals and principles.
Mont Blanc.
And that's just the truth, guys.
I think Donald Trump should sign the Involuntary Act and establish the Involuntary Foundation, and he can sign it with a Mont Blanc pen.
What I had to understand, guys, is that we've been lied to, guys. We've been bamboozled and we've been sold a lie. A lot of us been sold a lie. We've been lied to so much to where we actually searching for a good woman. I grew up going to church thinking that, oh, I'm going to find a good woman in church. I never found a good woman in church. And what I had to come to terms and understand is that people in church are not even good people. People in church are evil people. There are no good people in church. So that explains why I never found a good woman in church. Because there are no good women in church. There are no good people in church. People who proclaim to be Christians, and those people are not good people themselves. And that's what I had to come to terms and understand.
I wish I had known that in my 20s.
I just want you guys to know that we've been bamboozled, we've been lied to, we've been sold a dream, guys.
Sold a dream.
Looking for this good woman that does not exist. That's what I had to realize. Good women do not exist. And women will only be good to a man that has what they want. I mean, if you don't look good, if you're not loaded with money, if you're not famous, then a woman is not going to be good to you.
If you don't have high status, he's been saying that a lot lately too. High status men.
I mean, that's just the truth. Most women will say what I'm saying right now is not true. Women try to make it seem like they choose.
But you can't trust them because they're not good people.
A man based on ethics and principles and morals. That's BS. You know? And I just want you guys to know that if you've been spending your whole life looking for a good woman, I'm pretty sure you know by now good women do not exist. And that's why you never found one. I hear people say this phrase, choosing the right woman. But there is no right woman. There is no right woman. And I saw a news story about a guy who was dating a snow bunny. A brother was dating a snow bunny, and he got eliminated by that snow bunny. So that just goes to show you that it doesn't matter the ethnicity of a woman. Women are just women. And there is no such thing as a good woman. Good women don't exist. Women are all about looks. They're all about money. They're all about fame. There is no such thing as a good woman. So if you're looking for a good woman, give up looking, because they don't exist. And that's why I had to realize, no wonder in all of these years, I never met a good woman, because they don't exist. I've been searching for something that's not even real. And a lot of us have. Going to church thinking that I'm going to meet this good woman. Ain't no good women in church either. And that's what I had to come to terms with and understand.
Yeah, Avery, he really likes to share stories where like a woman has like gone out of her way like to take care of a bad boy and it backfired on him, or you know, she turned out to go nuts or something like that. He'll do entire videos about those stories.
We have been gaslit and lied to. Women
gaslit and lied to, man.
Will only be good to a man
Incel code.
That has what they want. If you don't have what a woman wants, they'll never be good to you. They'll always treat you like trash and garbage. That's just the truth. So once you get that in your dome and get that in your head, that there's no such thing as a
Now that's one thing I had to get through my dome.
good woman, it'll save you a lot of heartache and pain. Because I wanted to believe that there are good women out here. But it's like, how come I never found a good woman? Because they don't exist. They do not exist. And once you come into the light, and once you see the truth, and once you start to realize there's no such thing as a good woman, it'll save you a lot of heartache and pain. It'll save you a lot of sadness and misery.
No.
But you guys have a good.
No, we don't want to bully anybody. No bullying.
Talk to you soon. Peace.
All right, that was I mean, great video. I don't agree with him on all of his points, but I mean, amazing video. Extra kind of like a weird vibe in that one. What was I gonna look for? Oh, let's do a palate cleanser and